Welcome to Ichiraku Ramen, and thank you for joining me for another journey into the world of shinobi. Before we begin, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who listens, supports the channel, and enjoys these stories. Today's story is the final part of Naruto's secret jutsu. In this story, Naruto Uzumaki was always underestimated, dead last of the academy, ignored by the village, written off as a failure. But everything changes when he discovers a forbidden technique. The flying Raijin jutsu, a space-time ninjutsu once used by the legendary Yellow Flash. A technique so fast, so deadly, it changed the outcome of wars. And Naruto learns it 2 years before the Genin exams. This is a fan-made story inspired by the world of Naruto. All characters in the original universe belong to their respective creators. This narration is created for entertainment purposes as part of a transformative storytelling experience. The story itself was written by Keeper of the Ninja Way, and full credit goes to the original author. If you would like to read the original version, the link to the story is included in the video description below. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Chapter 21. Start of a new mission. Hey, Naruto, Guy called, followed by Neji and Tenten. Lee being in the hospital for an appointment. Hey, super bushy brow, sensei. What's up? What's up with all the attention, all of a sudden? Naruto thought, as Guy and 2/3 of his squad walked up to him. I just wanted to congratulate you on your promotion. Beating Neji the way you did was just incredible. Anyway, this is for you, said Guy, handing Naruto something wrapped up in some cloths. What is it? Huh, are these gauntlets? Naruto asked, having unwrapped the cloths. Yes, they are. They will help you deflect weapons on many sorts, including swords and staffs. I would have given Shikamaru the same gift, but he's not the close-up type. Makes sense. Anyway, thanks a lot, said Naruto, trying on his new gauntlets. No problem, Naruto, said Guy, giving Naruto the thumbs up. Neji then walked up to Naruto. Naruto, may I have a word? Alone? Neji asked. Huh? What for? I have something I'd like to ask you. Sure, I guess, said Naruto, as he started to follow Neji. Once the two were alone, after being verified by Neji's Byakugan, Neji asked his first question. Naruto, how is that you beat me? I could see you through the smoke bombs, yet I could see you move in the slightest. Naruto half expected this question, but he didn't trust Neji with the answer, so he just answered another way. I can't tell you that, Neji. It's a secret I don't trust easily to tell others. I was reluctant to tell even my team. They had to earn my trust, and they did. And Hinata? Why do you trust her with this secret? Neji asked. Huh? What do you mean? Naruto asked, afraid that Neji knows more than he's letting on. Don't treat me like a fool, Naruto. Lady Hinata had dropped a kuni with smoke bomb attached. It wasn't just a coincidence that she dropped the kunai at the exact moment you dropped a smoke bomb. She knows what your secret jutsu is. How? Neji asked, annoyed that Naruto was trying to treat him like a fool. Sigh, yay, she knows. But she earned my trust, more than anyone else. She discovered what my secret jutsu was a long time ago. She could have told anyone, but she decided to find out why I was keeping it a secret. I'm glad she did. She knew for months before she asked me about it. That proved that I could trust her. When the Chunin exams came around, I promised that I'd help her if she needed it. That's why she dropped the kunai. Anyway, you don't need to know more than that. Understand? Asked Naruto, in a clear but silent threat in his voice. Sigh, fine. But, how did you defy you fate? I said it was your destiny to lose to me, yet you defeated me. How? Because, I don't believe in destiny. It might be your way to cave into destiny, but it's not mine or Hinata's. She wants to change the way of the Hyuga clan, and I plan to help her. Once I've become Hokage. Anyway, I gotta meet my team for a new mission. I'll see ya around. Naruto explained before turning around and leaving for the Hokage's tower. Neji just stood there, shocked at what he was just told. He stood there for a good few minutes before suddenly smiling. I see. Well, let's just see how things turn out. Either way, I'm looking forward to it, said Neji, as he started waking back to the Hyuga compound for training. Hey, Grandma Tsunade, what's our next mission? Naruto asked, as he walked into Tsunade's office. Quit calling me that, brat. Tsunade yelled, annoyed at being called grandma. Hee hee. Naruto, you're a chunin. Act like it, said Kakashi, before Sakura could scold and lecture Naruto about respect. Haha, it's fine, Kakashi-sensei. Anyway, what's the mission? Naruto asked. Sigh, you are to meet an actress named Yukie Fujikaze. Tsunade began. Yukie Fujikaze. From the Princess Gale movies? Awesome, she's my favorite actress. Haha, yeah, Naruto cheered as he interrupted Tsunade. Focus, you cucklehead. Tsunade yelled, beginning to get impatient with Naruto. Haha, sorry, I just got excited. Hee, cucklehead. Sigh, this is an A-ranked mission. You four are to protect Yukie Fujikaze until her next movie is finished. It will be filmed in the Land of Snow. Is that understood? Tsunade asked, as she was done explaining. Yes, Lady Tsunade. Kakashi replied, bowing towards the village leader. Yes, Lady Hokage, replied Sasuke and Sakura, bowing as well. You got it, Grandma, said Naruto, with casual wave and his signature smile. Leave everything to us. Sigh asterisk, I'm starting to wonder if promoting him was the right decision. Was the thought that went through everyone's mind, except Naruto's of course. Land of Snow. Inside a large throne room, within a castle in the Land of Snow. 3 ninja were kneeling before a large man with short black slicked back hair, wearing a high-collared trench coat. Lord Dodo, we found her. Yukie Fujikaze is in fact Princess Koyuki Kazuhana. The hex crystal is also in her possession, said a man with long gray hair and a ponytail. Good work, Nader. Who is escorting her to the Land of Snow? Asked the large man, identified as Dodo. Aside from fellow cast members and the camera crew, only a single squad of leaf ninja led by Kakashi Hitaki. Replied the gray-haired man. HN. Sound like an inevitable rematch. Right, Nader? Asked the only Kunoichi, who wore a similar outfit to her 2 comrades and had 2 pink pigtails. Enough talk. Go and greet our friends. And bring the princess back here alive, with the hex crystal. Ordered Dodo. Yes sir, the 3 ninja replied, before going to execute their order. On a boat in the sea, oh man. I'm gonna go crazy, if I have to keep watching this spoiled. Naruto began, before Kakashi interrupted. Now, Naruto. You're a chunin, you have a duty to follow through with this mission without complaints. Yay, I know. But she's been a pain in the ass this whole time. First, she runs away. Second, she pepper sprays me just before she rips apart the autograph I asked for. Third, she gets drunk and bad-mouths her own profession. And let's not forget that she almost ran over some kids with a horse, and she never bothered to apologize. Naruto explained, continuing his ranting. Sigh, let it go, Naruto. Said Kakashi. Sigh, fine, but I'm not gonna like it. Naruto replied. Chapter 22. Battles in the Land of Snow. What is this? Asked the director of the new Princess Gale movie. I don't know. I woke up, and this was here waiting for us. Yelled the assistant director. What should we do? This is perfect. We'll begin shooting now. Everybody get moving, the director ordered. -2 hours later everything was set up for the scene. Everything was running smoothly. Kaboom, well, almost. Looking away from where the explosion occurred, it was revealed that Kakashi had thrown an explosive toward the mountain. Ha, so you noticed. Very good, Kakashi, said Nader, as the smoke dissipated. Nader Roga. I'm assuming Fubuki Kakuyoku and Mizore Fuyukuma are here as well. Said Kakashi. Ah, you remembered us. Said the pink-haired woman. Not many people with pink hair, Fubuki. Kakashi replied, knowing this could become troublesome. Kakashi, you know these people? Asked Sakura. Well, I was here 10 years ago. I fought them back then. I'm not as inexperienced as I was then, but this'll still be a little troublesome. Kakashi replied. Shouldn't be too much trouble, sensei. So what are your orders? Asked Naruto, getting ready for a fight. Sakura, you take care of Yukie. Naruto and Sasuke, take out Fubuki and Mizore. Kakashi ordered. Although Naruto is a chunin, he realizes that he still has to take orders from me. But he'll have to learn to make the right calls when I'm not around, eventually. Haha, right, the 3 replied, as they spread out to carry out their sensei's orders. Sasuke and Fubuki. Sasuke had attempted to bring things into a taijutsu confrontation, but Fubuki was keeping him away using ice style. I thought only that Hikugai could use ice style. Peeved. Whatever, I'll just melt it. I'm stronger than I was back then. Sasuke thought as he began making hand signs. Fire style, fireball jutsu. Sasuke yelled, as he fired his clan's signature jutsu. Ice saintly. Ice wall jutsu. Fubuki countered, creating a wall of ice to stop the large ball of fire. As the fireball dissipated, Sasuke took notice that the ice showed signs of melting. I see now. This isn't the ice style, Kekkei Genkei, this is just jutsu that manipulates the surrounding ice. Hey, I figured you out, Sasuke thought, as he closed his eyes. Once he opened them again, the blazing red eyes of the Sharingan was revealed. Sharingan? So, the brats of the Uchiha clan. Doesn't matter, he still won't get past my chakra armor. Fubuki thought, as she began with more hand signs. Ice style. Swallow snowstorm, Fubuki called, as a snowstorm of swallows began to form from the ground below. As the jutsu came towards Sasuke, he formed hand signs of his own. Fire style. Dragon flame jutsu, Sasuke called, as his jutsu easily defeated Fubuki's. Sakura and Yukie, having seen Sasuke's fire jutsu, fainted from the memories of 10 years ago. Yukie, Sakura yelled, as she checked on the actress. Seeing that she was just unconscious, Sakura lifted her up and began running towards the ship. Naruto and Naruto was having a tough time dealing with his opponent. Every jutsu that Naruto threw at him would just stop before hitting its target. Kakashi had yelled something earlier about it being chakra armor, and that it cancels out the enemy's chakra while amplifying their own. Come on, stop being a coward and fight like a man, Naruto yelled, as he pulled out the trench knives Asuma gave him. Doesn't matter what you call me, brat. You're gonna die today, said Mizore, as he sent his retractable cable towards Sakura and Yukie. Not gonna happen, Naruto yelled, swinging one trench knife vertically to cut the cable heading towards Sakura. Naruto had extended the blade considerably with his wind chakra. Spinning around, applying the same concentration with his other trench knife, Naruto swung horizontally. What the? Said Mizore, as he saw the cable suddenly drop. By the time he realized why, he was being hit an invisible blade. Luckily for him, his chakra armor was protecting him. Looking toward Naruto, he suddenly realized what was happening. So this little brat cut the cable. That must mean he's a wind type. Haha, useless, Mizore thought, as the sparks between Naruto's wind blade and his chakra armor. Kakashi and Nader seemed to be evenly matched so far. Although, Kakashi was just copying Nader's ice style, using the jutsu to buy time for the crew to get on the ship. You won't defeat me by mimicking my jutsu. Just hand over Princess Koyuki Kazuhana and the Hex Crystal, said Nader. What? That's Princess Koyuki Kazuhana of the Land of Snow? Kakashi asked, surprised by this revelation. HN. Of course, do you honestly think we'd waste out time with any of you otherwise? Nader asked, rhetorically. Nader then continued the battle by forming more hand signs. Ice style, white whale jutsu. A giant white whale made of ice came up from the sea and clashed against the island, causing a quake to knock everyone off balance. Sasuke and Fubuki. Ice style, ice prison jutsu, Fubuki called, trying to capture Sasuke. Pillars of ice were headed towards Sasuke. Sasuke knew he couldn't avoid it, except one. Letting himself get captured in the ice prison, Sasuke used the substitution jutsu. Shit, yelled Fubuki, as she noticed that the object in the ice prison was an iron stove with a paper bomb attached. Kaboom! Shards of ice were sent flying as a result. Fubuki had moved behind an ice wall she made earlier. Seeing his chance to strike, Sasuke started a set of hand signs, fire style. Sasuke started, before the quake caused him to lose balance. Naruto and Naruto's extended wind blade was still clashed against Mizore's chakra armor. The two weren't able to make a new move, until the quake caused him to fall to his knees. What the? Naruto began. Mizore had seen Nader's hand signs, so he was expecting a quake to hit. Once it did, Mizore began to charge at Naruto after activating his snowboard. I told you, you were gonna die, Mizore yelled, as he threw a punch at Naruto. Acting purely on instinct, Naruto moved inside Mizore's guard. Throwing a punch of his own at close range, aiming at Mizore's gut, Naruto's chakra flared slightly. This action resulted in a large blade protruding from within Naruto's sleeve. The blade clashed briefly against the chakra armor before piercing it. The blade had gone in from about an inch to the upper right left, from Naruto's pav, of Mizor's belly button, and out his spine due to the angle of the punch. Gagged blood began pouring from Mizor's mouth, as he suddenly dropped to the ground with a loud thud, while sliding off the blade. "Why, you be, brat," said Mizor, as he exhaled his last breath. Naruto-inspired the blade, it was 1.5 feet long and 3 inches wide. Naruto then noticed a small note attached near the base of the blade. Removing the note and cutting the flow of chakra, Naruto read the note. "Dear Naruto, I hope you like the surprise I left you in the gauntlets. I thought it would be a nice addition. Guy-sensei thought so as well. I hope you didn't get hurt before finding the surprise. Anyway, congrats again on becoming a chunin. Hope you like it, Tenten. It would have been so much better if she told me sooner. I mean, I almost died." "Come on," Naruto thought, as he put away the note and went to see if Sasuke or Kakashi needed backup. Not even taking 2 steps, Naruto saw 2 large white whales come out of the sea and clash against each other. "What the hell?" Naruto yelled. "Naruto, get to the ship, we're heading out," Kakashi yelled, after having used the copied, ice-style, white whale jutsu, to cancel out Naruto's own jutsu. "Right," Naruto replied, as he started heading for the ship. "Naruto and Fubuki. I can't believe Mizor got taken out by a leaf brat," said Fubuki, stating her shock. "That just means the Mizor should never have been a Junin for this land, that's all. Let's go, we need to report back to Lord Doto," said Naruto, as they turned away. "Right," Fubuki replied. On the ship, "Hey, Naruto. Are you okay?" Sakura asked, referring to the rip in Naruto's sleeve. "Yay, just this hidden blade that's installed into my gauntlets. Guy-sensei gave them to me, but it was Tenten's idea to put in the blades." Naruto replied. "Was it a congratulations gift for making chunin?" "Yay, I heard Shikamaru got pillows because he likes to take a lot of naps," said Kakashi, as he came back from checking on the actress, Princess. "Oh, hey Kakashi-sensei. Is Yukie alright?" Sakura asked. "Yay, she's just unconscious," Kakashi replied. "Is it safe to assume we have one less enemy ninja to worry about, Naruto?" Kakashi asked, having turned his attention to Naruto. "Yay, even if he somehow survived, the hidden blade on my gauntlet severed his spine," Naruto replied. "I see. Good work, all of you." Next day, Land of Snow Palace. "Are you telling me that a Junin of our land was defeated? By a child?" Doto roared. "Why? Yes sir," Naruto replied. "If it were by this, Kakashi, it wouldn't be a problem. But to be bested by a child is absolutely humiliating. Not getting the hex crystal makes you look all the more incompetent," Doto yelled. He was livid that, not only had they failed in their mission, but that he had lost one of his pawns to a child. There was silence for a few moments, before Doto spoke again. "Ready the train. And I will be joining you, to ensure that you don't fail me again." "Yes sir," Naruto and Fubuki replied, before leaving to prepare the train as ordered. Land of Snow, Naruto and company. "Sigh, can't believe it. We're stuck protecting a spoiled actress, who turns out to be a real princess. And she doesn't give a damn about the people of her country. How can someone be so heartless?" were the thoughts going through Naruto's head, as everyone was walking through a tunnel in a mountain that supposedly has train tracks beneath the ice. Back when they were still on the ship, Sandayu had explained everything. How Yukie Fujikaze was really Koyuki Kazuhana, the princess to the Land of Snow. How this movie was really to bring her back, and led her people to revolt against her uncle Doto. That Doto was the one to kill her father, Sosetsu, the previous feudal lord. Koyuki had soon interrupted, saying it was pointless to throw away one's life for a country that has no spring. That really got under Naruto's skin. He just couldn't understand how she could be like that, even with what happened. He believed he had a tougher time in life than her, and he didn't turn out like that. But he had to admit, one wrong turn somewhere and he could have been more like Gaara. Naruto's thoughts were interrupted, when he heard someone yell in a panicked voice. "Director, Koyuki has run away again," yelled the assistant director, shortly after they all exited the tunnel. "I got her," said Naruto, just before he threw down a smoke bomb. Once the smoke cleared, Naruto was nowhere to be seen. Where did he go? Asked the director. Naruto has a way to track people down quite quickly. Although, I don't think H left himself a way to get back. Or? Kakashi asked, looking towards his other students. Sasuke and Sakura just shook their heads in response. Sigh flashback. Well, I'm going to go take our actress to her room. I'll be right back, said Kakashi, as he started walking below deck with Yukie over his shoulder. It wouldn't be long before they set out for the land of snow from the land of fire. Hey, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto called. What is it, Naruto? Kakashi asked, turning around to see Naruto with a small stack of small pieces of paper with a familiar seal on them. Can you hide these in some of her clothes? You know, in case she tries to make a run for it. Naruto asked. Hey, sure, Kakashi repeated, taking the small stack. Koyuki had tried to run away, hoping that she'd be long gone by the time they noticed. She was so caught up in her thoughts that she tripped, resulting in her rolling a ways down a hill. Luckily she wasn't harmed. You made it pretty far. Too bad it doesn't matter how far you go. Koyuki looked up to see who it was had found her. Tisk. That kid again, Koyuki thought. Why don't you just leave me alone? Koyuki asked, aggravated at being caught. Because, like it or not, it's my job to protect you. Now come on, let's get you back, said Naruto, as he picked up Koyuki and placed her on his back. Ah, come on, I forgot to leave a. Damn it, Sai, never mind, let's just go, said Naruto, having realized he didn't leave a seal back at his previous location. In the tunnel Naruto had been traveling for a while, carrying Koyuki. The trip had so far been quiet, that is until Koyuki decided to speak up. You can take me back if you want, but all I'm going to do is act in front of the camera. That's it. Yay. Wouldn't want you getting your hands dirty fighting for your country, like Ariel Princess would. Naruto commented, snidely. And what's that supposed to mean? Koyuki asked, starting to get angry with the blonde. Peeved. I mean Ariel Princess would fight for their country, regardless how scarred they were from what happened. Not always try and run away because they're a coward. Naruto replied, as calm as he could. What would you know what kind of pain I went through? I lost. Koyuki began, before she was interrupted. At least you knew at least one of your parents. I was lied to about mine. I was too. Naruto began, before he realized the ice had suddenly melted, revealing 2 sets of tracks. He started to hear a sound coming from behind them. Soon he could see a light heading towards them, and the sound of a horn became clearer. Run, it's a train, Koyuki yelled, afraid of getting run over. You don't have to tell me twice. Naruto replied, as he began running as fast as he could. Ah, why didn't I put down a damn seal to get back? Damn it. Naruto yelled, in frustration. Run faster, Naruto. It's gaining, Koyuki yelled. You think I don't know that? Naruto replied, concentrating chakra to his feet in order to increase his running speed. Ah, Naruto could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Giving it his all, Naruto ran to the end and jumped to the side, dodging the train that had started to catch back up to him. Pant. Huff, made panted. Huff asterisk, said Naruto, lying in the snow with Koyuki a few feet from him. The train had come to a stop. Naruto started to stand up, when he started hearing a loud voice coming from the train. Yukie Fujikaze, or should I say, Koyuki Kazuhana. Welcome home. Now, surrender the hex crystal, said Doto, from the back of his train. Don't listen to him, milady, yelled Sandayu, from the hilltop. Unlike earlier, Sandayu was dressed in a samurai-like outfit. He was backed by hundreds of people, who were dressed similarly. Ah, Sandayu, yelled Sakura, somewhat amazed at the force he had by his side. Everyone, attack, Sandayu ordered. Ah, yelled the small army, as they charged. As they charged, they failed to notice Doto order something to one of his subordinates. The walls of the train lifted, revealing 7 by 7 inch square holes. All of a sudden, waves and waves of kunai were fired from the train. Sandayu's forces attempted to deflect the many waves of kunai, but it was futile. The sheer number was far too much for an army who had little to no ninja training. It was barely a minute, but Sandayu was the only one standing. I'll never give up hope. Not for this land, nor on Lady Koyuki, said Sandayu, just before another final wave was fired. Luckily, the wave never hit. Nevertheless, Sandayu could no longer stay on his feet. Let's move out, Dodo ordered. The train had begun moving toward the bridge, but as the train was crossing, it was struck by a large snowball. The snowball had hit the second-to-last cart, effectively keeping the last cart, that had Dodo, on the bridge. Just a matter of seconds later the bridge exploded, causing the cart to fall off the side of the mountain. Over by Sandayu, many of the cast, as well as Squad 7, were by Sandayu. Duh, lol, p. Prink. Sco, koyu, ki. P. Please, d. Don't shish. E day. Any tears f. For me. Said Sandayu, as he took his final breath. A moment of silence went by, before Koyuki broke the silence with her usual monotone voice. You're a fool, Sandayu. I can't cry, because you have my eye drops. Koyuki then stood up, and turned away. She would have walked away, if it weren't for Naruto's voice. What, is that all you can say? He gave his life, because he believed in you. How could you just act like it's no big deal? Naruto yelled, getting more and more frustrated with the princess of this land. Before Koyuki could reply, they started to hear something coming from over the cliffside. A few seconds later, what appeared to be some sort of airship. Upon closer inspection, however, it was the cart off the train supported by a very large container for helium. Hehehehe. This isn't over yet, Princess Koyuki. Came Dodo's voice, over the speaker once again. Gasp. Oh no. Why couldn't he have just died in that fall? Whined Sakura. Chapter 23. Final battle and the return home. Sakura, you think you can hit the rudder on that ship? Naruto asked, getting in front of the princess with kunai drawn. Definitely. Sakura replied, as she started hand signs for the jutsu Kakashi taught her. Lightning style. Lightning sniper strike jutsu. Sakura yelled, sticking her hand out with her fingers pointing towards the ship. A strong bolt of lightning fired from Sakura's fingers and struck the rudder. The strike caused a small explosion, knocking the airship towards the mountain. On the ship Kaboom, Lord Dodo, the rudder was hit with a lightning-style jutsu. We've lost control, we must evacuate, said Naruto, giving his leader a status report. Very well. We'll just finish things here. Leave no one alive, Dodo ordered. Yes sir. Naruto and Fubuki replied. Back with Naruto and company. Great job, Naruto. Having Sakura use the jutsu I taught her to take down their airship, preventing a hit-and-run kidnapping attempt in order to get to Princess Koyuki. But I'm sure he knows that won't finish them off, Kakashi thought, proud that Naruto came up with that idea so quickly. Now what, Naruto? Sakura asked, after Dodo and his henchmen landed in front of them. We'll just kick their ass, and make sure they don't hurt the princess or anyone else. Naruto replied. Of course, just state the obvious, why don't cha? Sakura thought, as she mentally face-palmed herself. In that case, I'll take the girl. We've got some unfinished business from last time, said Sasuke, as he took off after a smirking Fubuki. Alright, Sakura, make sure the princess and everyone else gets away from the battlefield. We don't need anyone getting hurt. I'll take on that Dodo creep, Naruto ordered, taking notice that Kakashi and Naruto had already taken their battle someplace else. What? But Naruto, shouldn't we war? Sakura began, before she was interrupted by Naruto. Sakura, Kakashi-sensei and Sasuke are busy fighting right now. You only have one effective jutsu, but it's useless against that chakra armor. Once you're done escorting everyone someplace safe, then you can help whoever needs it. For now, just do as you're told, said Naruto, before he took off towards Dodo. Sakura looked dumbfounded with Naruto's reasoning. Thinking about it, she realized that he was absolutely right. I guess Naruto got a brain along with that Chunin vest. Haha, Sakura thought, as she finally went to fulfill her orders. Koyuki, Naruto's going to fight Dodo on his own? Impossible. He can't, no one can beat Dodo. He's going to die, Koyuki thought, not knowing why she seemed so worried about Naruto. Kakashi and Kakashi had lured Naruto on the other side of the tunnel. Once he believed that no innocent people would get caught in the crossfire, he stopped and turned towards his opponent. Finally stop running, Kakashi? You know that copying my jutsu won't help you win, not against me, said Naruto, with his usual cocky attitude. Maybe so, but I thought I could show you one of my own, original, jutsu. Kakashi replied, forming the hand signs needed. Naruto had started forming hand signs of his own. Lightning Blade, Ice Style, Wolf Fang Avalanche Jutsu. As both jutsus became active, Kakashi charged towards Naruto, piercing through one of the ice wolves that got in his way. Keeping his jutsu active, Kakashi attempted to pierce through Naruto's chakra armor, knowing it wouldn't work. Which is what he was counting on. As the jutsu struck, the chakra armor did its job by canceling it. However, due to the shockwave that resulted, Naruto was forced off the edge of the cliff. Hey, is this all he's got? Pathetic, Naruto thought, before he was suddenly grabbed from behind. What the? Even if one doesn't have ninjutsu or genjutsu, a ninja must always have taijutsu, said Kakashi, as he started a rapid spin, primary lotus. Sasuke and Fubuki, you honestly think you can keep up with me, little man? Fubuki taunted, smirking at her opponent. Sasuke replied, with a slight smirk of his own. Ice Style, Ice Prison Jutsu, Fubuki called, hoping to catch Sasuke off guard. Sasuke had simply dodged and activated his Sharingan. Performing hand signs of his own, Sasuke called out his own jutsu. Fire Style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Fubuki easily dodged the small balls of fire by jumping into the air. While in the air, however, she was caught off guard by the shuriken flying right past her. With a glimmer of light, she noticed that the shuriken were tied to ninja wire. Glancing behind her, she saw that the shuriken were circling around her. This brat. Does he honestly think that he'll beat me with a lame tactic like this? Fubuki thought, as she used the substitution jutsu. Sasuke had seen this coming, so he used his Sharingan to track the Sunoku no Ichi. Having located her very quickly, Sasuke immediately began the hand signs for his final jutsu. Ice Style, Ice Prison Jutsu. Fubuki was about to come out and start a new jutsu, when she realized that the ice beneath her feet had started to ensnare her. What? This is impossible. Were Fubuki's last words, before she became trapped in a prison of ice. Remember, this ice style isn't a kekkei genkei like Haku's. This is just manipulating the ice, not creating it. I'm sure you might have known that already, but I thought I'd throw it out there anyway. Knowing that being trapped in the ice prison didn't kill her, Sasuke walked up to his imprisoned opponent. I guess I could just let you die slowly in this ice prison, but since I've acquired some just you from you, I'll finish you off quickly without suffering, said Sasuke, as he activated his Hisachidori. Naruto and Dodo. Naruto was having a difficult time with Dodo, since Dodo had taken to the air and refused to let Naruto get close. Come on, get down here and fight like a man, you overgrown coward, Naruto yelled, as he yet again swung his trench knives combined with his wind chakra, hoping to make contact. Seeing the attack coming, Dodo simply dodged as if the attack were just a nuisance. I've heard about all your skills thus far, so I won't fall for such a lame attack, said Dodo, seeing the shocked expression on Naruto's face. Dodo then turned his attention towards finding Princess Koyuki, who was currently hidden among the snow-covered rocks. Dodo figured this much because he couldn't see the princess among the group that was running away. Grr, you bastard, Naruto yelled, aggravated at his failed attacks. Fine then. I guess I don't have a choice, Naruto thought, as he prepared for his trump card. Koyuki had managed to slip past Sakura easily, and had been watching the battle. She had seen how Dodo had been dodging Naruto's attacks. As far as she was concerned, Naruto had no chance of winning. Knowing this, however, she for some reason didn't want anyone else to die. The words Naruto had said to her kept ringing in her head, and would go away like a bad cold. Making her decision, Princess Koyuki stepped out from her hiding place. Naruto, Dodo, and Koyuki, said Dodo, as he saw Princess Koyuki. What the hell are you doing? You should be with Sakura and the others. Get out of here, Naruto yelled, once he saw Princess Koyuki. Mind your own business, this doesn't concern you, Princess Koyuki replied. Turning her attention towards Dodo, Princess Koyuki said, Dodo, if you want me and the hex crystal, then fine. Just leave everyone else alone. What? Naruto whispered, shocked to hear that last sentence. Very well. Doesn't matter to me, so long as I get what I w. Dodo began, but was interrupted by a puff of smoke appearing out of the corner of his eye. That's not gonna happen. I don't care what happens, I'm not gonna let you take the princess. Naruto yelled, as he appeared out of the smoke next to Dodo. Naruto swung a fist towards Dodo, hoping to finish off Dodo the same way he did Mizore. Dodo of course knew what he was trying to do, but didn't bother dodging. Clang, what the? Naruto asked, shocked that his hidden blade didn't pierce through Dodo's chakra armor. Ha 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 ha. This is a more advanced chakra armor than what the others use. A pitiful blade like that won't be able to pierce it, Dodo said, with a smirk on his face. Dodo threw a punch of his own, intending to knock Naruto back towards the ground. Naruto attempted to parry the punch, but only partially succeeded. Naruto's hand made contact with Dodo's forearm, but due to the difference in physical strength, the punch landed square on Naruto's temple instead of his jaw. Naruto was then sent flying toward the snow-covered ground. Now that the nuisance is out of the way, shall we go then, Princess Koyuki? Dodo asked rhetorically, sending out a grappling cable similar to Mizore's. Dodo grabbed Koyuki. Once that was done, Dodo flew off with Koyuki in tow. Ha 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 ha. Now the Kazuhana treasure will be mine. Ha ha ha. A few moments later, the rest of Squad 7 finally showed up. What they saw surprised them. Naruto was just standing there looking at the sky. Naruto, what happened? Where's Doto and the princess? Kakashi asked, having come to a stop next to Naruto. Princess Koyuki came out and let herself get captured, as long as he left everyone else alone. Naruto replied, and you're just standing there, doing nothing? How the hell did you become a chunin? Sakura yelled, amazed with Naruto's stupidity. I had a plan ready before she came out and ruined it, so I had to come up with a new plan. And you knew PLA is just to stand here doing nothing? Will you listen for more than 2 seconds, Sakura? I'm waiting for them to land somewhere, so that I can take out Doto in one final blow. Said Naruto, getting annoyed with Sakura's yelling without showing it. Huh? How do you plan on doing that? And what does them landing had to do with anything? Sakura asked, confused with what Naruto's plan could be. Doto can apparently fly with his chakra armor. So he grabbed Princess Koyuki and flew off. That's why Naruto is waiting for them to land. With the sealing tags up placed within her clothes, Naruto's able to sense a small area around the seals. So once they've landed, Naruto will use his secret jutsu to deliver the finishing blow, as long as Princess Koyuki is close enough to Doto anyway. Sound about right, Naruto? Kakashi asked, after having figured out and explained Naruto's plan to his other students. He. Yup, you got it, Naruto replied. Oh, sorry Naruto. Sakura said, ashamed of herself for doubting Naruto. Hey, no problem, Sakura. Naruto replied. Naruto, here, said Kakashi. Huh? What's this? Naruto asked, seeing Kakashi holding out what looked like a small crystal. This Naruto is the real hex crystal. I switched it out just after I placed those tags of yours in her clothes. Once Doto realizes that the one Princess Koyuki has is a fake, then he'll undoubtedly come in close enough for you to take him out. Kakashi explained. I get it. He'll think that she tricked him, and he'll be too angry to react when I suddenly show up, and that eliminates the very slight possibility that he might dodge my attack. Not like he would anyway, said Naruto, as he took the real hex crystal and placed it in his pocket. A few minutes passed with nothing happening. The director of the movie had asked what the ninja were waiting for. It was Kakashi who explained to them what the plan was. What is it, Naruto? Kakashi asked, noticing Naruto's sudden reaction. They landed. It won't be long now, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto replied. Good, make it count, ordered Kakashi. Right, he's close enough, Naruto replied, creating a Rasengan. Naruto dropped a smoke bomb, and then disappeared within the smoke. He's gone? Where did he go? Asked the director, amazed that someone could just vanish in thin air like that. He went to save the princess. Only Naruto can get to her before anything happens to her. With his secret jutsu, Naruto is the fastest person alive, answered Kakashi, missing the negative look in Sasuke's eyes. Doto and Koyuki. Moments ago Doto and Princess Koyuki had just landed, and Doto started walking towards his niece. Hand it over, said Doto, holding his hand out. Fine. Here, Koyuki replied, handing him the hex crystal. Taking the crystal and examining it closely, Doto became infuriated. Is this some sort of joke? Doto yelled, crushing the fake crystal in his hand. Don't play dumb with me. You handed me a fake. Dodo yelled, interrupting Koyuki by grabbing he by her jacket. Suddenly a flash of yellow appeared right between Dodo and Koyuki. You damn right it was a fake, you bastard. Take this, Rasengan. Naruto yelled, ramming his jutsu in Dodo's face. This can't be. Where did this brat suddenly come from? Yugwa, were Dodo's last thoughts, before his head went flying off his shoulders, shortly followed by his body. Ha, I win, shouted Naruto, in triumph. What the hell? How the hell did you get here, Naruto? And why did you interfere? Koyuki yelled, demanding an explanation. Oh shut up. I would have beaten him earlier if you had just stayed hidden. Because you decided to come out, I had to change my plans a bit. Well, at least it looks like some of what I've said earlier seems to have finally sunk in, huh? He, said Naruto, with his trademark grin on his face. Thinking about what he meant, Koyuki gasped, he's right. I guess I have more potential as a leader than I thought. I gave myself over, so that Naruto and all the others wouldn't get hurt more than they already were. But it was pointless. Naruto beat Dodo. It seems I'm just useless. Huh? Koyuki thought, before her thoughts were interrupted by something being placed on top of her head. Hey, no point in feeling sorry for yourself, y'all, no. Besides, you finally showed that you can be a great leader for your country. Naruto said, after having placed a hand on Princess Koyuki's head. And how would you know that, huh? Koyuki yelled. Because you're actually crying on your own, instead of that fake crap you use. Naruto replied, not losing his smile. Reaching up, Koyuki placed a hand on her cheek to confirm what Naruto had said was true or not. And sure enough, she felt them. Real tears were falling from her eyes. The tears that she had thought had long dried up, had returned with the warm feeling growing in her once cold heart. Leaf Village. It was nearly sunset in the hidden Leaf Village. All was peaceful, until… finally home. Yeah, Naruto yelled, glad to be back home after such a long mission. Squad 7 had remained foe another few weeks in order for Princess Koyuki to finish her movie. During those few weeks, there was a large festival. Everyone in the Land of Snow attended, celebrating the return of the rightful ruler of the land to the throne. Once the movie was finally finished, Squad 7 and Princess Koyuki said their goodbyes to each other. But not before Naruto was given an envelope by the princess, right before their departure. Sigh, honestly, Naruto. You don't have to yell, said Sakura, as they walked through the gates. Sorry, I'm just happy to be back in the village, y'all, no. Naruto repeated, scratching the back of his neck. Alright, you too. Anyway, why don't you all go get some rest? I'll give Lady Hokage the report on out mission. Good job, you three, said Kakashi, dismissing his team. Yes, Kakashi-sensei, the three replied, before heading off in different directions. Sakura obviously headed after Sasuke, but Naruto headed off on his own. This detail didn't pass by Kakashi. Naruto usually follows after Sakura, even if it means following Sasuke. Wonder what's with the sudden change? Kakashi thought, but shoved it to the back of his mind as he pulled out his book and thought about the script that Princess Koyuki had been holding. Sigh. I can't wait until that movie comes out, Kakashi thought, with a perverted giggle. Kurenai's apartment? Something wrong, Hinata? Kurenai asked, after she poured the tea for the both of them. I'm just worried about Naruto. I wonder if he's okay. Hinata replied, as she took a sip of her tea. I see. You shouldn't worry too much, Hinata. He does after all have his secret jutsu, just in case he runs into anything he can't handle, said Kurenai, as she took a sip before continuing. Then again, I doubt that with that jutsu of his anything could give him more than he can handle. Haha, I guess you're right, said Hinata, as she took another sip. I'm glad Naruto decided to trust you with that secret. Hinata commented. That's true, but it did seem that he trusted me a little too easily. At least as far as the reasons he gave me are concerned. I know, but he must have just forgotten to mention the fact that you've been keeping our relationship a secret this entire time. Even now that you do know his secret. You got a point there, Hinata, said a new voice from the right behind Hinata. Naruto? Said Hinata, after turning around to see Naruto. Yup, I'm back, and the mission was a success too, said Naruto, with his trademark grin. Naruto, Hinata yelled, glomping Naruto. Said glomp caused the two to hit the ground. Ouch. Giggle, okay, You two love birds. Get up. Naruto, would you like some tea? Kurenai asked, inwardly laughing at the display. Heh, sure, thanks, Kurenai-sensei. Naruto answered, as he and Hinata got up and sat down at the table. After pouring Naruto a cup of tea, Kurenai and Hinata began asking him about his MS Scion. Naruto answered what questions he could, over-exaggerating some of his own accomplishments in the process. Of course Kurenai and Hinata knew he was doing this to make it sound more exciting, but they didn't mind too much. Wow, so, your favorite actress was in fact a real princess after all. That's quite something, said Kurenai, after Naruto finished his tale. Yup, hee. Naruto replied. Did you get her autograph, Naruto? Asked Hinata. Huh? Oh, wait a second, said Naruto, remembering the envelope that Princess Koyuki gave him. What do you have there, Naruto? Kurenai asked, curious if there's an autograph inside the envelope. Naruto pulled something out of the envelope. Whatever it was, it made Naruto's eyes widen with surprise. Why did she have to use this picture? Couldn't she have at least used a better one? Oh, said Naruto, placing the photo on the table for the others to see. Looking at the photo, Kurenai and Hinata saw what was on the picture. It was Squad 7 plus Princess Koyuki. Sasuke had a stoic face, with his hands in his pockets. Sakura was bent slightly forward, with a big smile on her face. Kakashi was simply standing there, with his usual eye smile. It was the part with Naruto and Princess Koyuki that got most of their attention. Princess Koyuki had her left side facing the camera. She was bent down to Naruto's level on his left side, and she had her left hand against his right cheek. She had her eyes closed, and her lips occupying Naruto's right cheek. Naruto had a surprised look on his face, showing that he hadn't seen it coming. They were almost speechless. Hinata was the first to say something. Shish, Shike, kissed you? Hinata asked, in a voice that sent chills down Naruto's spine. Yeah, I swear I would have told her, but our relationship is supposed to be a secret. It caught me off guard, otherwise I wouldn't have it that happen. I swear, Naruto said, in a panic. He was hoping that she'd believe him. Giggle, I know. I was just seeing how you'd act. Don't worry, Naruto. I know you would do what you said. Besides, the picture shows that you're telling the truth. If the priceless expression on your face is anything to go by, said Hinata, as she started to throw a fit filled with laughs at Naruto's expression, both on his face and the picture. Soon Naruto and Kurenai began to join in on the laughter. Chapter 24. Adventure in the Land of Tea. The report says, Naruto had an opportunity at defeating Dodo and took it, successfully decapitating Dodo with the Rasengan, said Kaharu, as she reported to Danzo about Squad 7's latest mission. I see. Danzo replied, not showing any emotion. Lord Danzo, there's no doubt that the child is getting stronger, but we're not getting the opportune moment we need to ensure that you properly train him. What if the moment Nev Homura began, before Danzo interrupted him? I've already considered that possibility. Honestly, I'm getting a little impatient. So, if the moment won't come to us, then we'll just create our own moment. It all comes down to the 9 tails making an upcoming mission a success. And what is this plan you're planning, Lord Danzo? Kaharu asked. I won't bother you with the details. Just wait and see. Now, I must go make preparations. You're dismissed, said Danzo, getting up to set his plan in motion. Mission hall? I wonder where Kakashi-sensei is? Naruto asked, with his hands behind his head. Kakashi won't be coming, he's been sent out on another mission, said Tsunade, as she walked into the mission hall. Lady Hokage, said Sakura. Grandma Tsunade, said Naruto. Would you quit calling me that already? Said Tsunade, as she sat down and grabbed a scroll. Anyway, just you 3 will be sent on this mission. Needless to say, Naruto is in charge. Right, leave it to me, Granny, said Naruto, holding a thumbs up. I would hope so. This is a very important mission, the results of which are on your shoulders alone. Tsunade replied, with a stern stare towards Naruto. Right. Anyway, let's start the briefing, said Tsunade, as she briefed them on the details of this mission. Land of Tea. The mission had been peaceful up to this point. Naruto and his teammates were currently taking a break in a tea house. As they were relaxing, a teenager a few years older came up to them. Gee, the life of a ninja seems pretty cozy, said the teen. Say what? Naruto replied. You heard me. You leaf ninja don't have a care in the world, said the teen, really getting on Naruto's nerves. Why you? Naruto growled as he started to stand up. Well, hello there. I didn't mean you, of course, said the teen as he saw Sakura. Huh? Who me? Asked Sakura. Leaning on the table, the boy continued his flirting with Sakura. Listen, have you ever given any thought about our future? The teen asked. What future? You know, the one where you quit this ninja business and run away with me. The boy said, giving Sakura a wink. Ah, are you gonna hit this guy, Sakura? Or should I? Naruto yelled. Geez, I was just kidding. But what I said about being a ninja wasn't, said the teen as he prepared to leave. Calm down, Naruto. You're supposed to act like a chunin, you know, said Sakura, trying to calm Naruto down. The comment caused the teen to pause in his step. The teen looked behind him and saw that what she said was true. Naruto was wearing the standard chunin vest. Yay, I know. Sheesh, Naruto replied. Turning back around and leaving without being noticed, the teen thought to himself, that kid? That stupid-looking kid is a chunin? Impossible. A few moments later, hey, those idiots will never catch him. Ah, thought the teen as he suddenly tripped over a tree root. Oof, I gotta watch where I'm going, said the teen as he started to stand up. I wouldn't be worried about that right now, if I were you, said Naruto, from a branch just above the teen. Naruto of course was with Sasuke and Sakura. Jumping down, Sasuke asked, alright, why did you leave your bill with us? Seeing no way out, the teen decided to use deception. I'm sorry, I didn't have any money, the teen yelled as he bowed his head. Just then something small fell and hit the top of Naruto's head. Ow, huh? What's this? Naruto asked as he bent over to pick it up. Don't touch that, the teen yelled as he grabbed the object and stood up. Hey, what are you doing? Naruto asked, bracing himself for any sudden moves. Deciding that he had no other options, the teen decided to remove the leg weights he had been wearing. See ya, said the teen as he dropped the leg weights, causing a cloud of dirt to appear. Once the dirt cloud disappeared, the teen was gone. A minute later, huff, now puff what? Asked Sakura as they came to a stop. The group had chased the teen but were unable to catch up to him. Don't worry, I tagged the back of his cape while he was flirting with you, Sakura, Naruto replied with a confident smirk on his face. Huh? You did? Why? Sakura asked, confusion on her face. I had a gut feeling he'd pull something stupid. Anyway, I'll be right back, said Naruto, just before he vanished in a flash of yellow. With the teen, looks like I lost. Squad 7, Hatha? Said the teen as he landed on the ground. What happened? How did I get back here? The teen thought, as he looked at his surroundings. He noticed that he had already ran past this area, and this was where the ninja had stopped chasing him. Not only that, but he was surrounded by said ninja. Well, if you don't count being sat on by one of them. Too bad, you can't get away from me that easy, said Naruto, sitting on top of the older teen. How did you catch up to me so easily? The teen asked, glaring at Naruto. Hey, don't worry about the details. Mind helping me tie this guy up, Sasuke? Naruto asked, as he began tying the older teen. Sure, but what's the plan with this guy? Sasuke asked, as he helped Naruto. The nearest town is where we're supposed to meet up with boss Jirocho, right? Naruto asked, looking towards Sakura for confirmation. However, all members of Squad 7 missed the slight widening of the teen's eyes. Yay, it is. Why? Sakura asked, confused about where this was going. Good. After we meet boss Jirocho, we'll have this guy turned into the proper authorities, Naruto explained, as he lifted the teen to his feet. Not a bad idea, commented Sasuke, as he helped Naruto lift the teen. Boss Jirocho's office, I see. I'm sorry that Idate has caused you trouble, said Jirocho. Naruto and the rest of Squad 7 made it to boss Jirocho's home, where they were greeted by a member of the Wasabi family. To the teen's great surprise, they were informed that the teen, Idate, was actually a member of said family. Sure, no problem, I guess, Sakura replied, not entirely sure what to make of the situation. Thank you. Now, could you please leave us? I must speak with Idate, asked Jirocho. No problem, boss, Naruto replied, his voice full of his usual enthusiasm. Once they left the office, Jirocho turned his attention to Idate. Idate, said Jirocho, disappointment eminent in his voice. Why? Yes, boss? Idate replied, nervous about what kind of trouble his latest round of mischief had caused him. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that when I took you in, I asked that you stop with these thieving antics. Did I not? Asked Jirocho. Yes, you did, Idate answered, bowing his head. Then, why did you skip out on your bill, and pinned it on the ninja? Jirocho asked, with a stern look in his eyes. Idate stayed silent and didn't answer. Sigh, I understand that you don't like ninja. And I've never asked why that is, but please just bear with it. Alright? After a moment of silence, Idate answered. Yes, sir. In the forest. Hey. Where are you going? Naruto yelled. Squad 7 had been chasing Idate since the start of the race in Port Dagarashi. Instead of taking the boat and head to the next island, Idate ran into the nearby forest. It's none of your business, Idate replied, as he continued to run. Why don't you just leave me alone? It wasn't long till Naruto was running right behind him, but neither noticed the double-layered genjutsu. Idate had detected the first, but not the second. As a result, both Naruto and Idate had followed the side of the mountain they had been running on. Luckily, they were saved by Sasuke's action to catch them using a rope. Sigh, that was close, said Naruto. Naruto then noticed something falling. Ah, my ninja tools, Naruto yelled. Sigh asterisk. At least I still have my trench knives and my gauntlets. I'll just have to get my weapons later, Naruto thought, as he and Idate were being pulled up. On the boat since the forest, everything seemed to be going smoothly. But Squad 7 was still on guard, just in case. During the boat ride, Squad 7 discovered that Idate was once a genin from the Leaf Village. And that Idate had an older brother, named Ibiki. Idate was relieved to hear that his brother was alive and well. However, the moment was interrupted as an arrow hit the rail of the boat. What the? Said Sasuke, turning around to see another boat. Not long after, Rain Ninja began boarding the ship. Sasuke activated his Sharingan, and took note that only one was real. Naruto. Sakura. Watch out, one of them isn't a clone, Sasuke yelled, informing his teammates. Right, Naruto and Sakura replied. We gotta keep them away from Idate, Naruto ordered, as he punched through another clone. We know, Sasuke relied, as he went after the real one. Sasuke had put himself in a confrontation with the real Rain Ninja, eventually forcing the enemy to retreat by diving overboard. Sasuke. They turned into water clones, Naruto yelled, making sure the other knew that the threat wasn't over yet. I know, be careful, Sasuke replied. No shit, Sasuke, Naruto yelled. Suddenly rain started to fall, leaving small black puddles on the deck. Sakura was the only one that notices this, and soon realized that the rain was actually oil. Then noticing that Sasuke had started making hand signs, Sakura yelled. Sasuke. No, there is oil all over the place. Heeding Sakura's warning, Sasuke immediately ceased casting his hand signs. Sigh, that was close, said Sakura, to one in particular. Sakura then noticed that one of the ninja was holding something in his hands, and taking careful aim. Seeing that one of his comrades lit the object on fire, she realized what they were planning. Watch out, they're planning on lighting the boat on fire, Sakura yelled, warning her teammates. I'm on it, Naruto yelled, making the hand sign for his second favorite jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu, having created 9 clones, making a total of 10 Narutos. The real Naruto ran to the back of the boat, while pulling out one of his trench knives and held it like a sword. Seeing that it was a flaming arrow that was fired, Naruto jumped off the back railing and concentrated his wind chakra into his blade. Back off, you assholes, Naruto yelled, swinging his trench knife. The wind extended blade easily split the arrow in two, effectively keeping their boat out of harm's way. However, Naruto's wind blade caught fire. This created a large fire blade instead. Continuing his swing, Naruto hit the enemy's boat. This resulted in 2 things. 1. The front end of the boat was split vertically in 2, effectively causing the boat to eventually sink. 2. Set the boat on fire. Alright, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Creating another shadow clone, Naruto had it grab hold of his arm and threw him back towards their boat. Good job, Naruto, said Sakura, as Naruto landed. Hee. Thanks Sakura. Naruto replied, as he placed his right hand behind his head. Ouch, said Naruto, pulling his hand back down. Naruto, are you okay? Sakura asked, carefully grabbing Naruto's hand. Holding Naruto's still-armed hand, Sakura noticed that his hand was burned. Removing the weapon and glove, Sakura said. Naruto, you got first to second degree burns. Ouch. Yay, I kinda figured I'd get burned if I did that. Heh. Naruto replied, placing his uninjured hand behind his head. You did? Sakura yelled, as she hit him over the head. If you knew that would happen, then why'd you do it, you idiot? Ouch. Sakura, I did it so the boat wouldn't get burned and then sink. Ooh, Naruto replied, holding his head. Oh, sorry, Naruto, said Sakura, feeling ashamed of herself. It's fine, just don't hit me again, said Naruto. Rig. Kaboom. An explosion hit the left side of the boat. With the boat beginning to sink, Squad 7 had no choice but to abandon their means of transportation. Naruto ordered Idate to go on ahead, but Idate was convinced that they were just trying to save themselves. I took Naruto to hit him over the head with his burned hand to get him to get moving. In a cave, Squad 7 had managed to get off the boat safely, after giving Idate a head start. On the way to the shore, Squad 7 was drawn underwater by the Rain Ninja. Thanks to Naruto's quick thinking with the use of his shadow clones, the Rain Ninja were defeated. Once they got to shore, they rushed in to help Idate, who was being attacked by another Rain Ninja they haven't encountered yet. Unfortunately, the ninja was keeping his distance. By doing so, Squad 7 were defeated by the ninja poisonous needles. Squad 7 and Idate had been resting in a cave since, thanks to Sakura, who had been given the antidote by Tsunade before they left the gate. While they were resting, Idate explained who that ninja was. He was a rogue ninja, named Aoi Rokusho, who defected from the Leaf Village and joined the Rain Village. It was Aoi that had tricked him into bringing him a secret scroll and the Sword of the Thunder Spirit. Only after that had Aoi explained that Idate could become a Chunin, but within the hidden rain. Idate eventually told them how he met boss Jirocho, that out of all of the Wasabi family, he was the only KNE to have faith in him. Unfortunately, thanks to the reunion with Aoi, Idate had lost faith in himself. But Naruto refused to let Idate give up. He told Idate that one person believing in him is all he needed. With Naruto's help, Idate made it to the top of the Spirit Breaker steps. Once he was at the top, Idate took off running in order to finish the rest of the race with his own power. Drawbridge. Idate had finally managed to get to the drawbridge that he needed to cross in order to get to the finish line. As he got closer to the bridge, Aoi suddenly appeared and knocked him to the ground with the Sword of the Thunder Spirit. You just don't know when to give up, do you, Idate? Asked Aoi. Not bad. Too bad for you that I'm not Idate, said Idate with a smirk. What are you talking about? Aoi asked, confused by what Idate was saying. HN. You mentioned earlier that you're a Junin, but you can't detect a simple transformation jutsu. Idate replied, before he disappeared in a asterisk poof of smoke. I see. So you're indeed not Idate. But don't think that you can take me. Especially when I wield the Sword of the Thunder Spirit, said Aoi, looking into the dark eyes of one of the Leaf Ninja. Hey, interesting. Your Sword of the Thunder Spirit against my Chidori. Sasuke replied, as he activated said jutsu and his Sharingan. The two Nina charged towards each other. I've always heard that the last Uchiha was talentless brat, unworthy of his family name. Aoi taunted, cutting through Sasuke's Chidori. Nearby trees, oh no. He needs our help. He's fine, Sakura. It'll take more than that to take him out. Naruto replied, proving his point by pointing at the battlefield. When do we make a break for it, Naruto? Idate asked, anxious to get going. If you can sneak by without getting caught, then I can help Sasuke. Sakura, I need you to go with Idate. Just in case. Naruto answered, getting ready to enter the battle. Alright, come on, Idate, said Sakura, taking off toward the bridge after Idate. Sasuke and Aoi, take it back, said Sasuke, as he stood back up. Able to stand back up, eh? You should have just stayed down, said Aoi. I said, take it back. Sasuke yelled, reactivating Hisachidori. Sasuke charged with Hisachidori at full power. In a clash between thunder and lightning, Sasuke's jutsu was once again defeated. but not before leaving a crack in the sword's blade. Unfortunately, Sasuke was captured in the sword's current. Using this to his advantage, Aoi threw Sasuke over the side of the cliff. Once he was sure Sasuke was done for, he finally noticed two figures were running across the bridge. "No, it can't be," yelled Aoi as he ran to cut the ropes of the bridge. Luckily for Idate, Naruto appeared blocking the path to the bridge. "Out of the way," Aoi yelled, swinging his sword. "Not a chance," yelled Naruto, blocking the sword with his wind-charged trench knife. "What? Impossible. Not when wind beats lightning, asshole." With that clash, Idate and Sakura managed to finish crossing the bridge. "Damn you. You'll pay for that, you bastard," said Aoi, furious at being stopped by a worthless leaf Chunin. Few moments earlier with Sasuke had fallen unconscious when he was caught in the sword of the Thunder Spirit's electrical current. As he was falling towards the whirlpool at the bottom of the ravine, there was a yellow flash. "I gotcha Sasuke," said Naruto, as he grabbed Sasuke. Once he had him secured, Naruto removed a tagged kunai and threw it toward a decent-sized ledge on the cliffside. With another yellow flash, Naruto and an unconscious Sasuke were on the ledge. "Don't worry, Sasuke. Once the boss beats that bastard, we'll get you some help." Naruto and Aoi had continued to clash. Aoi had tried to get past Naruto, but Naruto hadn't given up any ground. "Alright, even if you can block the sword of the Thunder Spirit, I'm still a Junin. And you're just a lousy Chunin, who just got lucky to even get that promotion," said Aoi. "Hey, really? 'Cause the way I see it, that's the best trick you've got. And I got another trick up my sleeve that'll beat you and that sword, believe it," taunted Naruto. "Is that so? Then try it, you little bastard," Aoi replied, charging towards Naruto at full speed. Smirking, Naruto waited till just the right time. As Aoi came swinging his sword down, he said, "Where's your big talk now, huh?" Quickly concentrating chakra to his left gauntlet, Naruto swung his arm. The result was an arm with a dark blue hilt flying, landing on the ground 10 feet away. Aoi hardly had any time to scream in pain, because his head fell to the ground shortly after. "Hey, told ya. Now, time to grab that sword, Sasuke, and get to the finish line," said Naruto, as he went to grab the sword of the Thunder Spirit. Once Naruto placed the sword in his weapon's pouch, he disappeared with yellow flash. Sasuke appearing with a yellow flash, Naruto dismissed his shadow clone. "Alright, give me a second to find out Sakura's surroundings, and we can get you some help," Naruto said, to an unconscious Sasuke. Once Naruto found Sakura's location, and confirmed that she was somewhere no one could see her, Naruto grabbed Sasuke and once again disappeared in a yellow flash. On the boat, the mission has ended in a success. Idate had caught up and passed Fukusuke, winning the race. Although, the feudal lord's minister had attempted to have Idate disqualified, since he provided a photo of him being carried by Naruto. That was overruled by the feudal lord, providing a photo of his own. The photo proved that the minister had been accepting bribes by the Wagarashi family. This resulted in the minister being forced to resign. Once the boat had arrived, Idate had a short reunion with his older brother Ibiki. As Naruto was yelling his goodbyes, Sasuke had been thinking about his fight with that traitorous rain ninja, Aoi Rokusho. "I wasn't able to beat him. But Naruto was." Chapter 25. The return home and tension among teammates. It was early morning, and Squad 7 had just returned from their mission in the Land of Tea. Sasuke was brought to the hospital as soon as they came through the hidden leaf gates. Naruto and Sakura were headed towards the Hokage's mansion to give the Hokage their report on the mission. Naruto looked over to see a worried look on Sakura's face. "Hey, Sakura," said Naruto. "Huh? What is it, Naruto?" Sakura asked, looking at Naruto. "Are you okay? I mean, you look worried." Naruto replied, I'm not worried. Why do you think I'm worried?" Sakura lied. "Well, you've been looking at the ground ever since Sasuke was taken to the hospital." Naruto replied, not buying Sakura's lie. "Sorry, I know I shouldn't be worried, but his injuries didn't seem bad enough for him to go to the hospital." "Huh, I guess you got a point, Sakura. But we don't know anything about medical stuff." Looking back at the ground, Sakura replied, "Yay, I guess so. Well, if you're that worried about it, why don't you go and check up on Sasuke? I can take care of the report." Naruto mentioned, trying to cheer Sakura up. Really? Are you sure? Sakura asked, with her head shooting up so fast Naruto almost thought it would pop off. Yay, it's no problem. I got it, Naruto replied, scratching the back of his head and his trademark grin on his face. Thank you, Naruto, Sakura yelled, before shooting off towards the hospital. You're welcome, Naruto yelled, as Sakura rounded the next corner. Hokage mansion knock. Knock, enter, said Tsunade, after hearing a knock at her door. Hey, grandma, yelled Naruto, as he entered the Hokage's office. Quit calling me that, brat, Tsunade yelled, in response to Naruto's outburst. Hee, where's Sakura? I know that she wasn't injured, was she? Tsunade asked, once she realized that Naruto was alone. Oh, I let her go visit Sasuke at the hospital, Naruto answered, looking toward the floor with a sad look on his face. I see. I understand that your mission was a success, said Tsunade, changing the topic. Looking back up with a big smile on his face, Naruto answered. Yay, but we had some trouble with a rogue leaf ninja. A rogue leaf ninja? Tsunade asked, a confused look on her face. His name's Aoi Rokusho. After he left the village, he became a Junin for the Hidden Rain village. So I've heard. And he had the sword of the Thunder Spirit with him when he did, said Tsunade, as she heaved a heavy sigh. Yay, I know. Sasuke fought him while he wielded that thing. That's how he got hurt. I managed to save Sasuke with a shadow clone while I fought Aoi. I started out by keeping him away from the bridge so that Idate could catch up and win the race. Once he was across, I tried to take him out. After a few minutes, I managed to get a killing blow. That's how I got this, Naruto explained, as he pulled out what looked like the hilt of a sword. With her widened eyes, Tsunade asked. Is that? Yep, it's the sword of the Thunder Spirit, Naruto answered, handing the hilt to Tsunade. Taking the hilt from Naruto, Tsunade channeled her chakra into it. Having been activated, a yellow blade appeared. Tsunade inspected the blade. She had no doubt that it was indeed her great-uncle's sword, but she wanted to make sure it was intact and well-maintained. Seeing that it was indeed intact, but despite that, there was a crack about 4 inches above the hilt. Thank you for bringing my great-uncle's sword back to me and the village, said Tsunade, with a big smile on her face. No problem. I'm sorry about the crack. I was trying not to break it with me, wind chakra, said Naruto, with a sheepish grin and a hand behind his head. I see. How'd it get cracked in the first place? Tsunade asked. I think it was Sasuke's Chidori, Naruto replied. I see. Well, that shouldn't be a problem, said Tsunade. Seeing the confused look on Naruto's face, Tsunade explained. The blade is made of lightning chakra, yet one doesn't need lightning chakra to wield this sword. Should it crack or break, one needs Avery precise chakra control over their lightning chakra. Give it some time and this sword will be as good as new. No way? Seriously? That's awesome, Naruto yelled, excited that the blade will be repaired. That it is. Now, I need you to start from the beginning of your mission. Then I'll take a look at that right hand of yours. Yes, ma'am, Naruto replied, before he began explaining the details of the mission. Hokage Monument. It was almost sunset in the Hidden Leaf Village. Naruto and Hinata were ending their date the same way they always did, watching the sunset from atop the 4th Hokage's head. That's amazing, Naruto, said Hinata, as she leaned back in Naruto's arms and listened to Naruto's now finished story over his latest mission. Haha, I know right, Naruto replied, smiling towards his girlfriend. So, how's the training? Naruto asked, on a more serious note. Sigh. It's very difficult, but I'm not sure if I've been making any progress, Hinata replied, in an exhausted voice. Come on, Hinata, you're training like crazy. I know you're making progress. You gotta have more faith in yourself, okay? I'll try. No, Hinata, repeat after me, said Naruto, turning Hinata's face toward with his left hand of her right cheek. Huh? Repeat after me, okay? Oh, okay. Naruto began. Hinata repeated. Will, have more, have more, faith, in myself. Naruto finished. In myself. Hinata repeated. Now, put it all together. I will have more faith in myself, said Hinata, with a faint blush on her face. There, see? Was that so hard? Naruto asked, giving Hinata a quick peck on the lips. No, it was easy to say. Hinata repeated, kissing him again. Haha, Sai, I guess it's getting time to take you back? Naruto asked, as the sun had finally set. Looking towards the horizon, Hinata sighed before answering. Yay, I guess so. In the village, we're here. Good night, Hina, said Naruto, in his usual disguise. Yay, good night, hero, Hinata replied, in her usual disguise. After their usual, good night kiss, Hinata went inside the apartment complex. After closing her sensei's apartment door, she heard the usual question that came from Kurenai after a date night. So, how was it? Next day, hospital roof Sakura was visiting Sasuke again today. This time she came with apples and she had been peeling them. Sakura was worried that Sasuke hadn't said a single word since the mission. Despite this, however, Sakura didn't show it. So, Sakura just continued peeling apples and trying to make conversation. Eventually, Naruto came into the room and everything changed. Sasuke challenged Naruto to a fight. Naruto tried to tell Sasuke that this wasn't a good idea, because Sasuke was still admitted to the hospital. However, Sasuke wouldn't have it. He provoked Naruto, and Naruto eventually accepted. Sasuke then told Naruto to follow him, and left towards the roof. They were now on the roof, ready to square off. What's so funny? Sasuke asked, after hearing a chuckle from Naruto. I'm not laughing 'cause it's funny. I'm excited, because I know that today is the day that I'll finally beat you. Naruto replied, with a smile on his face. Tisk, you are so arrogant. Let's do this, said Sasuke, getting more and more irritated with Naruto. Put on your headband, and we will. There's no reason to put it on, you won't even put a scratch on my forehead. That's not the point. The headband symbolized that we're fighting on equal terms as a leaf shinobi. There you go again, acting all high and mighty. You honestly think we're equals? Heck yay, I do. Enough, let's get this over with, said Sasuke, as he charged in towards Naruto. Chapter 26. Battle at the Final Valley, and the dark plan takes shape. Naruto was currently chasing after Sasuke through the forest near the border of the Land of Fire. Naruto couldn't understand it. Naruto had held his own against Sasuke, without his secret jutsu. Naruto didn't want to attract too much attention with either his smoke bombs, or the flashes caused by his jutsu. At the end of the fight, before they could hit each other with their final jutsu, Kakashi intervened, ending the fight. Flashback: the sun was about to set, and Naruto was heading home. Naruto had his mind on the fight he had earlier with Sasuke. Looking up when he realized he was close to home, he saw Sakura waiting for him. I need to talk to you, Naruto. So, if you want that date you've always wanted, you'll shut up and listen, said Sakura, as she motioned for Naruto to follow him. Crap, I never expected Sakura to ask me for a date. Oh man, I got no choice but to go along. Hopefully, this won't go on any further than this, Naruto thought, as he followed Sakura. Naruto and Sakura had gone to Ichiraku's Ramen. While there, Sakura had told Naruto all that happened after he fell unconscious during the second stage of the Chunin exams. She also explained to him about the curse mark on his neck, and that she believed it was what's affecting Sasuke's attitude. The next morning, Hidden Leaf Gate Shikamaru and Naruto were called into the Hokage's office early the next morning. Tsunade had informed them that Sasuke had defected towards the Hidden Sound Village, and by extension, Orochimaru. Both Naruto and Shikamaru couldn't believe what they had just heard. Eventually, Shikamaru and Naruto were ordered to gather a team and leave within half an hour. Tsunade placed Shikamaru in charge due to his high intellect, but Naruto would be second in command. Half an hour later, the team of Naruto, Neji, Choji, Kiba and Shikamaru were at the Hidden Leaf Gate. Shikamaru came up with the lineup for their pursuit. From front to back it was Kiba with Akamaru, Shikamaru, Naruto, Choji and then Neji. As they were about to exit the village, Sakura had shown up. Sakura had asked Naruto to fulfill her wish of a lifetime. She asked him to bring her Sasuke back to her. Naruto, of course, couldn't let a friend look so sad. So, he promised that he'd do whatever it took. With that, they left in pursuit of Sasuke. Flashback: end, Choji, Neji, Kiba and Akamaru, Shikamaru and Bushy Brow. Thanks for all your help. Just hang on, I'll bring back that jerk, Naruto thought, as he finally caught up to Sasuke. Sasuke! Naruto yelled. Sasuke stopped at the other end of valley, standing on the head of a large statue. "Oh, it's you," said Sasuke, as he slowly turned around. Seeing Sasuke's face had shocked Naruto. Sasuke's left eye seemed to be golden in color, and he had black markings on his face. Pushing his appearance aside, Naruto tried to talk to Sasuke. "Sasuke, what do you think you're doing? Why are you going to Orochimaru? What's it to you? My days playing ninja with you kids in the leaf are through." Sasuke replied, "What? You mean to tell me that Choji, Neji, Kiba and Shikamaru all risked their life for nothing?" Naruto yelled, angry that Sasuke was acting the way he was. "Did they now? How thoughtful. Go home, Naruto. That village can't help me get stronger," said Sasuke, as he began turning around. Jumping across the valley, Naruto tackling Sasuke to the ground. After turning him over and grabbing his shirt, Naruto continued. "Are you crazy? Orochimaru killed the third Hokage and tried to destroy the village. You think he's going to give you any power for free? He just wants to wear your body like a new set of clothes. The bastard is a traitor to the village. And you want to get power from him, when he got most of his power from the Leaf Village?" Naruto yelled, before he punched Sasuke in the face. Sasuke just spat a little blood in Naruto's face, before replying. "If it's to kill Itachi, then I'll give up anything." With that, Sasuke grabbed Naruto by the collar of his orange jumpsuit, and began to lift him up. Naruto placed a hand on Sasuke's hand, trying to get him to let go, but it didn't work. So Naruto settled for the next best thing. Once Sasuke was standing, he let go of Naruto and with the same hand, delivered a powerful punch to Naruto's gut. Naruto was sent flying off the statue and into the water, that eventually led to the waterfall. What the hell? Since when could he punch that hard? Ow, it doesn't matter. I'll have no choice but to stop him by force, Naruto thought, as he rose back to the surface. "There you are. Do you get it yet? I've been asleep the whole time I've been in the village. But thanks to Orochimaru, I'm wide awake," said Sasuke, as he looked down on Naruto. Still, Naruto has that jutsu. Luckily, he needs a tag or a tagged kunai to use it on me. Hey, it's a good thing I made extra sure not to have that tag on me. But I still have to keep my distance, just in case he's able to sneak one of those tags on me, Sasuke thought, as he began making hand signs. "Fire style. Dragon flame jutsu," said Sasuke, as he fired his strongest, fire, jutsu at Naruto. Knowing that using his wind jutsu was too dangerous, Naruto dove out of the way and into the water. "Huh? Not bad, diving underwater. Too bad you won't be coming back up," said Sasuke, weaving more hand signs. This went on for another minute, and Naruto was running out of air. "Shit, I've got no choice, otherwise I'll drown," Naruto thought, as he prepared his Rasengan. Sasuke was preparing hand signs for his next jutsu, when suddenly a yellow flash appeared right in front of him. "Rasengan!" Naruto yelled, ramming his jutsu into Sasuke's gut. Sasuke was then sent flying, over the side of the statue and down toward the water at the bottom of the waterfall. "Hey, got him!" Sasuke couldn't believe that Naruto managed to use high-flying Raijin jutsu, and hit him with the same jutsu that he had only seen during their fight on the hospital roof. Damn it. That's impossible. How'd Naruto manage to use that jutsu? I know for a fact that he didn't tag me. And I didn't even bring my weapons pouch with me. So how did he do it? Sasuke thought, after landing in the water with a large splash. Damn, that hurt. I can't move. I've got no choice but to use my curse mark. Naruto went to the edge of statue, looking down on towards Sasuke. "Come on, I doubt that's enough to take you out," Naruto said, talking to himself as he waited for Sasuke to resurface. Finally, Sasuke resurfaced. This time though, he had black markings covering the skin on his body. Naruto could see the look on his face, the look of intense anger. "Naruto, I'm going to kill you for that," Sasuke yelled, watching Naruto very carefully with his now activated Sharingan. "Bring it on. That Sharingan and curse mark won't help you. And you'll regret leaving the village," Naruto yelled, once again disappearing in a yellow flash. Sasuke received a punch in the face the exact moment another yellow flash appeared right in front of him again. Skidding atop the water, Sasuke tried to stand up. Unfortunately, Sasuke was again punched in the gut, forcing him underwater. Damn it. My Sharingan can't keep up with him, Sasuke thought, as he resurfaced once again. Had enough yet? Naruto asked, as Sasuke's head rose above the water. Just give up and come back to the village. You can't beat me. Naruto continued, as Sasuke finally stood back up. Don't get too cocky. I still haven't been going all out. And Ichiraku can't beat me. Sasuke replied. At that moment, Naruto noticed something change within Sasuke's eyes. The 2 commas in each eye now became 3 commas in each eye. Then prove it, Naruto replied, as he went on another attack. Sasuke could feel the change in his eyes. With it he believed he'd be able to see even a slight movement. But that theory blew out the window, as he was once again hit without seeing anything but a yellow flash. Not again. Since when does he not need a seal to use that jutsu? Sasuke thought, as he stood up yet again. Give up, Sasuke. I told you, you can't win. Keep fighting and I'll have to really start hurting you, said Naruto, preparing another Rasengan. Then Arg. Sasuke began, before he fell to his knees coughing up some blood. Not again, not now. Sigh, I've got no choice but to use stage 2, Sasuke thought. Looks like you can't fight anymore, Sasuke. Give up now, and then we can go back to the village and get you looked at. The more you fight, the more you'll get. Who? Shut up. I haven't fallen so low that I need you to worry about me, Sasuke yelled, interrupting Naruto. You're right, you've fallen even lower than that. Going to a traitor for power. I never thought you could have fallen so low. Naruto replied, his jutsu still in hand. Why are you going so far for me? Sasuke asked, looking Naruto in the eye. Glancing briefly down at the water, Naruto replied. Because, to me you're like a brother. That's why I can't let someone like Orochimaru get their hands on you. That's why I'll do whatever it takes, even if I have to break every bone in your body. A brother, eh? That's a powerful bond. If that's the case, I'll just have to sever that bond, yelled Sasuke, as the black marking began to glow red and began connecting to each other, covering all of Sasuke's skin. Once the glowing died down, Naruto could hardly recognize him. In fact, he would have been fooled if it weren't for the fact that this happened right in front of him. Sasuke now had dark gray skin, with a black 4-point star on the bridge of his nose. The whites of his eyes were now pitch black, allowing the Sharingan to pop out even more. Sasuke? What's happened to you? Naruto asked, taken aback by this transformation. Haha, I've become stronger, Naruto. Do you still think you can win? Sasuke asked, a confident smirk on his face. Sasuke was answered almost immediately, as he took another Rasengan to the gut. What the? Damn it, I forgot about that, Sasuke thought, as he crashed onto the shore next to the river. Doesn't matter if you've gotten stronger, Sasuke. It means nothing if you can't see your opponent's movements, said Naruto, as he walked towards Sasuke. How are you using that jutsu without a ceiling tag? Sasuke asked, as he stooped up and sprouted wings that looked like giant hands, and took flight. Naruto watched as Sasuke took to the air before he answered. Remember when you grabbed me by the collar, and I tried to pry your hand off? Naruto asked. Getting a questioning look from Sasuke, Naruto continued. Since I couldn't get you to let go, I settled for the next best thing. You've only ever seen me use the flying Raijin jutsu, with a sealing tag, whether it was attached to a kunai or not, or if my weapons had the seal etched onto the weapons. Sasuke finally caught on, and took a look at his hand. But he didn't see anything there. Giving another questioning look towards Naruto, said person continued. I can place a seal on anything and anyone. The seal only appears where I placed it, and only when it's about to be put to use. At first I was inexperienced, so the seal was only temporary. But now, the seal is permanent. Naruto finished, creating multiple shadow clones with each one forming the Rasengan. Sasuke's eyes widened, as he looked back at his hand. Sure enough, just as Naruto said, the seal had appeared. Last chance, Sasuke. Give up, or I'll beat you till you can't move, Naruto warned, as he and his clones got ready to attack. Angry that he was at a loss, Sasuke abandoned all reason and formed his own jutsu. The Chidori? This was different from the usual one he used. Due to the influence of the curse mark, the jutsu turned black. Just try it, loser, Sasuke yelled, arming Hisablack Chidori. Alright, you asked for it, flying Raijin, multi-Rasengan barrage. Naruto yelled, beginning his attack. One by one the shadow clones disappeared and reappeared in front of Sasuke, ramming their jutsu into him. It didn't matter if they hit the gut, arms, legs or even the veins. After each hit, Sasuke would be sent flying from one side of the valley to the other before getting hit by the next shadow clone. Eventually, the real Naruto was the only one left. Sasuke was sent directly to him by the last shadow clone. Sasuke was somehow conscious through the whole attack. The whole time, Sasuke thought, impossible. How can this loser beat me? And Uchiha? Those were Sasuke's last thoughts, as he fell unconscious by Naruto's last attack in the barrage. Naruto was standing on by Sasuke's side. That last attack had sent him in the direction of the Leaf Village. Naruto was worried that Sasuke might not make it back to the village alive. He bent down to pick him up when a hand grabbed his wrist. Looking to see who the hand belonged to, Naruto saw his sensei, Kakashi Hatake. Kakashi-sensei? It's alright, Naruto. I'm sure you're exhausted, so I'll carry him back to the village, said Kakashi, letting go of Naruto's hand and picking up Sasuke. Let's hurry. Right, Naruto replied. With that, they both started up the cliff with the destination of the Leaf Village set in mind. Final Valley, 2 minutes later. To think that child possessed such a powerful jutsu, said the white half of an Akatsuki cloaked, plant-like figure. Indeed, he defeated the Uchiha boy without the Nine Tails chakra. Truly a worthy prize of our organization, replied the black half. We must report this battle to the other members, said white half. Hidden Leaf Hospital, Lady Tsunade. Shizune yelled, getting the attention of everyone standing in the hallway. Tsunade herself had just walked out of the operation room, which held one Choji Akamichi within. What is it? Tsunade asked. Neji Hyuga's condition is stable. There is no longer a threat to his life. I also have news of the other members of the team sent to retrieve Sasuke Uchiha. Kiba Inuzuka has suffered serious injuries, but are not life-threatening. Naruto Uzumaki and Kakashi Hatake have just returned. Naruto's injuries appear to be minimal at worst. Sasuke Uchiha, however, is seriously wounded and is being treated as we speak, said Shizune, finishing her report on everyone's condition and status. Very well. Go attend to Sasuke Uchiha. I'll be with you shortly to take over, Tsunade ordered. Yes, Lady Tsunade, Shizune replied, before carrying out her orders. Seems everyone from the team is alive. And you succeeded in your mission. Congratulations, Shikamaru, said Tsunade, as she walked after Shizune. Shikamaru had been crying by this point. He was glad that the mission was a success, but even more so that everyone was alive. Sob, thank you, Lady Sob Tsunade, Shikamaru replied, as he continued to cry. The next day Sakura and Ino were at the receptionist's desk, coming to check in on their teammate. Going to check on Naruto? Ino asked. Yay. And Sasuke too, if he's in, Sakura replied. Naruto Uzumaki hasn't been admitted, I'm afraid, said the receptionist. Huh? Why not? Sakura asked, with a confused look on her face. He only had a fist-sized bruise around his stomach area, so there was no need to hold him here, replied the nurse. Sai gasped. What about Sasuke? He is in room 306. He's somehow stable, despite the injuries he received. Thank you, Sakura yelled, from down the hall. Sakura and Ino didn't bother listening once they heard what room he was in. Instead they started running as soon as they heard the room number. You're welcome? Outside room 306 Tsunade was talking to Naruto about what will happen to Sasuke. As Tsunade and Naruto were about to enter the room, she stopped when she heard Lady Tsunade. Seeing who it was that called her, Tsunade said. Sakura. Ino. Here to visit Sasuke, I see. Yes ma'am. Is he alright? Sakura and Ino replied, simultaneously. Alright then, come on in. But be quiet, he's not awake, Tsunade informed. But, Lady Tsunade, said an ANBU, no one noticed until now. It's alright, cat, said Tsunade, as she opened the door and let everyone in. What's with the Anbu, Lady Tsunade? Ino asked, as the door was being closed. Precautions, just in case Sasuke or anyone attempts to aid Sasuke in leaving the village again, Tsunade replied, pointing towards the bed Sasuke was resting in. -5 minutes later Sakura and Ino were sitting next to Sasuke's bed, on either side of him. Tsunade had explained to them Sasuke's condition, both in health and in life. Unless Sasuke had a lot of luck on his side, he'd be executed if not long-term imprisonment. Naruto of course had immediately spoken against both options. Tsunade told him that, since he was an acting chunin on the squad, that his words might have some sway in Sasuke's final judgment. Naruto said he'd do whatever it took to keep Sasuke from either of those punishments. Eventually, the whole room was quiet. It was Sakura who broke the silence. Naruto. She began. Huh? Yay, Sakura? Naruto asked. Thank you. Sakura replied. Huh? Thank you for bringing Sasuke back. I had faith that you'd bring Sasuke back, and I'm truly grateful that you did. Said Sakura, with tears running down her face. No problem, Sakura. I'm sorry I had to beat him up so bad though. It's fine. Lady Tsunade said he'll make a full recovery in time. Knock knock. Who is it? Tsunade asked. From behind the door, they heard Shizune's voice saying. It's me, Shizune. In a loud voice, Tsunade replied. Come in. Once Shizune had closed the door behind her, Tsunade asked. What is it, Shizune? You, Naruto and Lord Jiraiya have been requested to a meeting with the village elders, in the council chambers. I've already sent word for Lord Jiraiya. Shizune answered. Sigh, alright. Everybody, out. Naruto, you're coming with me. Said Tsunade, as she began walking towards the door. In the council chambers Tsunade, Naruto, Koharu, Homura and Danzo were all present within the chamber. They were currently waiting on Jiraiya, so they could begin the meeting. Once Tsunade and Naruto had entered, Naruto was asked to sit in a chair in the middle of the room. When Tsunade asked what this was about, the elders responded with, once Lord Jiraiya has come, everything will be made clear. Needless to say, Tsunade didn't like where this was going. Just when Tsunade's patience was running out, the door opened and in walked Jiraiya. Sorry I'm late, but I nearly put an Anbu in the hospital for interrupting my research. Said Jiraiya, after he closed the door. It's about time you're here, Jiraiya. Now, what's all this about? Tsunade asked, ignoring what Jiraiya had said. Allow me, princess, said Danzo. Once he got everyone's attention, he continued. We're here because we, as in your advisors and I, believe that one Naruto Uzumaki has grown to be too powerful and must be removed from the shinobi program immediately. After a moment's silence, Tsunade, Jiraiya and Naruto replied simultaneously. What? Chapter 27. The Dark Plan's Proposition. What? What the hell are you idiots talking about? Naruto has undergone training under both myself and Kakashi. Besides, there have been shinobi in this village that were stronger than Naruto was at the same age. All the previous Hokage, myself and Kakashi are all proof of that. Said Jiraiya, angry at what the elders were trying to do. That may be, Jiraiya. However, the situation is different due to the child condition. Based on his graded skills in the academy, Naruto's progress has improved far too much in such a short time. In said short time, Naruto has easily defeated one Sasuke Uchiha, injuring him quite badly, when before it would have been just the opposite. Naruto Uzumaki has become too powerful much too fast, explained Koharu. Thump, that's your excuse? That's a bunch of bull, if you ask me. Tsunade yelled, after she slammed her palm on the table, resulting in a large crack. Does this mean you disagree, Lady Tsunade? Asked Homura, raising his left eyebrow. What the hell do you think? Yelled Jiraiya and Tsunade, simultaneously. I was hoping you would go along with it, Tsunade. But it seems we have no choice to show you that this must be done. Said Danzo, pulling out a document. Tsunade took a look at the document, and she couldn't believe her eyes. In short, it was an official document stating that if the village's Jinchuriki's skill increased too fast within such a short amount of time, then he was to be dropped from the shinobi program. If it weren't for her sensei's signature, she would have ignored it. But she recognized his signature, as well as the official Hokage's stamp. What's worse is that the document stated that this couldn't be revoked by any Hokage before or after. Nor could it be revoked by the members of the village council. Tsunade bowed her head in both anger and defeat. You see, Lady Tsunade, there is absolutely no excuse for the increase in his skill that could currently keep Naruto Uzumaki within the shinobi program. He must be dropped immediately. That includes no use of any jutsu, as well as the cancellation of his summoning contract with the Toads. Danzo continued. Naruto and Jiraiya couldn't believe it. The third Hokage agreed to such a document. For Jiraiya, however, something just didn't feel right. He would have to look into it later. Tsunade took a deep breath, regretting what she was about to do. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I've got no choice. You are hereby dropped from the shinobi program, said Tsunade, not bothering to look up. Naruto's head bowed. He couldn't believe that his dreams of becoming Hokage had just died. How could this happen? It's not fair, Naruto thought, tears threatening to fall down his face. Lord Jiraiya, is there a way to cancel the summoning contract? Asked Homura. Looking sternly at the elders, Jiraiya reluctantly acknowledged the question. Sigh, yes, there is. He'd have to draw a line, made out of his blood, through his name. Jiraiya replied. Then he must do so. Danzo replied, able to keep a smirk from appearing on his face. Tisk. Biting his thumb, Jiraiya began forming hand signs, summoning jutsu. In a asterisk poof of smoke, a large orange toad appeared with a large scroll wrapped up in his tongue. Unraveling his tongue, the scroll was placed in front of Naruto. You heard what to do, now do it. Danzo ordered. Reluctantly, Naruto opened the scroll and complied. Once Naruto had drawn the line of blood through his name, the toad and scroll disappeared with another asterisk poof. Naruto then took of his headband and placed it on the table. He knew he wouldn't be needing it anymore. Getting up, Naruto left the council chambers with his head down. Now, I can finally get my hands on the 9 tails, Danzo thought, after Tsunade dismissed everyone. Naruto's apartment. Naruto was lying on his bed, with his hands behind his head. I can't believe it. I'm no longer a ninja. I can't ever be Hokage. It's not fair, Naruto thought. It was already dark. Naruto decided to get ready for bed, but then he heard a knock at his door. Getting up, Naruto went to answer the door. Once Naruto opened the door, he was surprised to see who it was. Hina, did you forget we had a date tonight, hero? Asked Hinata, while still in disguise. Face palming, Naruto replied. I'm sorry. Come in. Once the door was closed, Hinata dropped the transformation. What happened, Naruto? Why didn't you show up for our date? Hinata asked, as she followed Naruto to his kitchen table. Sigh. I'm really sorry, Hinata. I really am. It's just that today became hell, is all. Naruto replied, setting a kettle of water on the stove. What happened? Why did it go to hell? Hinata asked, not really comfortable with saying that last word. Hinata could see anger and sadness in Naruto's eye. Naruto had sat down and gripped the table. He gripped it so hard his knuckles turned white, and Hinata was afraid he'd end up breaking the table. Gritting his teeth, Naruto finally answered. Those damn elders said, I've grown too strong too quickly. And that it was too dangerous because of my condition. Hinata knew what Naruto meant by condition, but she didn't interrupt and let Naruto continue his story. And apparently my last mission, my fight against Sasuke, caused them to get me dropped from the shinobi program. They had a document signed by the old man, saying all that crap. Said Naruto, yelling that last word. Gasp, They didn't actually do that, did they? Hinata asked, fearing the worst. Sigh, Grandma Tsunade couldn't do anything about it. She had no choice but to agree. I'm no longer a ninja of the Hidden Leaf Village, I'm just a civilian now. My dream of becoming Hokage is dead, Naruto said, letting his tears fall from his eyes. Hinata shed her tears as well. She couldn't believe that the dreams of the person she admired and respected most just had their dreams shattered. She had attempted to cheer him up. She had managed to succeed, but by the time she did, she had to leave and head to her sensei's apartment. Kurenai's apartment. Hinata had just closed the door when she heard the usual question. As well as an additional question. How'd it go? Did he tell you why he was late or forgot? Kurenai asked. What she didn't expect was Hinata rushing into her, crying her eyes out. Hinata, what's wrong? Don't tell me that he broke up with you? Hinata just shook her head furiously in response. Then what happened? Kurenai asked. Once she calmed down, Hinata explained what had happened to Naruto. Kurenai couldn't believe what she had just heard. It struck her as odd why something like this was happening, especially considering what Naruto had accomplished during his last mission. Unfortunately, there was nothing she could do. -4 a.m. Naruto's apartment. Naruto was sound asleep. While sleeping, however, he could feel as if someone was watching him. Eventually, he woke with a start. He immediately armed himself with a kunai, since that he couldn't get rid of them yet. "Who's there?" Naruto asked, knowing someone was there. "Calm down, child. I've come with a proposition for you," said a familiar voice. I asked, "Who's there?" Naruto asked, annoyed that someone entered him home unannounced. The figure turned on the light to the room, and had to almost immediately defend against the kunai Naruto threw at him. "I'm not here to fight," said Danzo. "You break into my apartment, watch me sleep like some creepy asshole. And you expect not to get attacked? Are you stupid?" Naruto replied, as he grabbed another kunai. Ignoring the kunai and Naruto's insult, Danzo answered. "As I said, I've come with a proposition." Intrigued by this, but not trusting the old man, Naruto asked. "And what would that be?" "You may no longer be a ninja of the Leaf Village, but you could be a ninja for me." Danzo replied. "What are you talking about, you old bastard?" Naruto asked, confused by what he meant. "What I'm saying is, that I have my own division of ninja. They're known as Root. They're similar to the Leaf's Anbu Black Ops, but are more of a secret than the usual Anbu." Danzo replied, ignoring Naruto's insult once again. "You're one of the ones who got me kicked out of being a ninja, and you expect me to trust you? By making me work for you? You must be a CRA." Naruto began, before he was interrupted by Danzo. "You may not trust me, but I can help you become more powerful than you could ever become. I could help you master the Nine Tails power. And what about my dream of becoming Hokage, huh? You ruined all the hard work I put into my training to achieve that dream." Naruto yelled. "You and I have the same goal. We both wish to be Hokage. If you help me become Hokage, I'll name you my successor. How does that sound?" Danzo replied, keeping his voice calm and collected. "Even if what you say is true, why should I trust you? And I'm sure there's a catch." "Clever boy. Yes, there is indeed a catch. And what would that be?" Naruto asked, with caution in his voice. "You'd have to fake your death. Only then could you rejoin the ninja ranks, as a member of the Root Anbu." Danzo replied. Wide-eyed and shocked, Naruto could only respond with, "What? Are you serious?" "Yes. I'll give you a week to think about it. I'll meet you here at the same time. Choose wisely," said Danzo, leaving in a swirl of leaves. Without even bothering to think about the offer, Naruto muttered to himself. "Grr, that fucking bastard. Who does he think he's kidding? I have to think of something, but what?" After turning off the light, Naruto thought about what to do. It took him about 45 minutes to an hour to make up his mind. The first thing he did was grab a piece of paper and something to write with. What he had to write, he wrote with great regret in his heart. Chapter 28. Secrets Revealed and Shikamaru's First Failed Mission. Hokage's Office. Tsunade, Shizune, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Asuma, Guy, Kurenai, Hinata, Ino, Shino, Lee, Tenten, Shikamaru, and Sakura were all in the Hokage's office. No one, except the two Sannin and Shizune, knew why they were here. But Hinata suspected why they might be. Clearing her throat, Tsunade spoke. "I'm sure most of you are wondering why you've been called here. There's no point in beating around the bush. You are being sent on a mission to retrieve Naruto Uzumaki." Everyone was surprised to hear what the mission was. With the exception of Hinata, who gave a slight flinch. It was Shikamaru who spoke first. "Excuse me, Lady Tsunade. But why are we retrieving Naruto? Isn't he still in the village after our last mission?" Shikamaru asked. Sigh, "Unfortunately, no, he's not. Since the academy, the elders believe that Naruto has grown too strong, too fast. Therefore, he was dropped from the shinobi program." After a collective gasp and a raised eyebrow from Shino, Tsunade continued. "As a result, Naruto has run away from the village. We're a few hours behind, so we need to get going." "Why would we need to find him then? He's no longer a ninja, so he can't be classified as a rogue ninja?" asked Shino, curiosity barely noticeable in his voice. "That's true. And there are reasons for that, but now's not the time for that," Tsunade replied, with her hands laced under her chin. "With all due respect, Lady Tsunade. But I think we should know the reason why we're going after a civilian." Tenten countered. Sigh, "Very well. Normally, none of you were supposed to learn of this. But I guess it may be best to, just to improve the chances of success." Tsunade replied. "Why weren't we supposed to learn? Well, whatever it is." Sakura asked. It was Jiraiya who answered. The third Hokage put a law in place to prevent anyone from talking about it. This was to give Naruto a chance at a normal life. But until Naruto became a genin, that didn't happen. It's because many people in this world tend to fear and hate others who share Naruto's burden. This burden is why you were most likely told not to associate with him. What he's getting at is that none of you can tell anyone else, but your teammates, what you hear from here on out. Understood? Tsunade asked, staring very sternly at all of them. Receiving an acknowledging nod from everyone, Jiraiya continued. The fourth Hokage didn't kill the 9 tails, instead he sealed it inside a newborn child. That child was Naruto. Everyone's, except Hinata's, mouth dropped like a stone. Sakura was the first to break the silence. You mean to tell me that Naruto is a duh? Sakura began, before she felt a hand on her shoulder. Slap. Thud once Sakura was, forcefully, turned around. She received a hard slap to the face and a kick to the gut, sending her crashing to the floor. Looking up, Sakura realized had hit her. What the hell did you do that for? Sakura yelled. Hinata was standing right where Sakura previously stood. Hinata's hands were shaking in quiet rage, and had tears running down her face. After a moment of silence, Sakura was about to repeat herself, when Hinata finally answered her. Don't you dare call him that. You have no idea what kind of life he's had. You should be ashamed of yourself to even have called him your teammate, you dumb bitch. Hinata yelled, surprising everyone in the room, even Kurenai. Even though Hinata's confidence has gone up, she'd never yell. What the hell? Hinata cursed? Who is she, and what did she do to the real Hinata? Everyone thought, simultaneously. Oh, and what would you know? Huh? Sakura replied, standing up. Taking out a kunai, Hinata threw it at Sakura's feet. I know more than you think. Look at the markings. Hinata yelled, pointing at the kunai. Doing this she said, Sakura picked up the kunai. Sakura gasped when she saw the familiar markings of Naruto's secret jutsu. How did you get this? Sakura asked. Naruto gave it to Sob to me before the Sob. Chunin exams. B. Sob. But I've Sob. Known about Naruto's Sob. Secret jutsu for years. I know EV. Sob. Everything about Sob. Naruto. Things you couldn't even Sob. Imagine. Hinata replied, as tears continued to fall. Peeved. Yeah right. Sakura remarked, not believing what Hinata said. Grabbing Hinata by the shoulders, Kurenai held her close. Careful, Hinata. It may not be a good idea to let everyone know about your relationship with Naruto, don't you think? Kurenai asked, whispering in Hinata's ear. Wrapping her arms around her sensei, Hinata replied. I don't care. I just want Naruto back. This didn't go unnoticed by the others, since Hinata didn't reply. Care to explain, Kurenai? Asked Tsunade. Taking a quick look in Hinata's eyes, Kurenai asked a silent question. Receiving a nod, Kurenai answered. Sigh. Since Kakashi's team returned from their mission in the Land of Wave, Naruto and Hinata have been secretly dating. Receiving wide eyes and disbelieving looks, Kurenai continued. Hinata continued to act shy while Naruto was around, and Naruto would keep asking Sakura out on dates, knowing that she'd turn him down every time. Hinata and I didn't like the idea, but with Naruto's reputation, there wasn't any other options. Wow, Naruto's more clever than I thought. Explains why he kept on summoning Gamakichi. Jiraiya commented. Sigh, what a drag. No offense Hinata, Sakura. But we're gonna need to know what this secret jutsu is. Otherwise we might not stand a chance against him. Said Shikamaru. Sigh. That's another reason why Naruto must be brought back. He knows a very powerful jutsu. It's the fourth Hokage's flying Raijin jutsu. Whaat? Ino screamed with wide eyes. Are you serious? There's no way that Naruto could. Never mind. Ino continued, before she was stopped by a very intimidating glare by Hinata. You're kidding? Of all the jutsu in the village, Naruto knows the most advanced in the entire village? Possibly in the world? Shikamaru asked, with great surprise in his voice. Yes, that's right. Naruto happened to have stumbled upon a scroll that contained the jutsu. Only Naruto and Jiraiya knew the location of the scroll, but only after Naruto discovered it. Tsunade replied. You said, knew. Is it correct to assume that the scroll is no longer in that location? Shino asked, a drop of sweat on his forehead. Sigh, that's right. Once we heard Naruto had left the village, Jiraiya went to see if the scroll was still there. However, Naruto had taken it with him, making 3 reasons why he must be brought back. Could this be any more of a drag? I always knew Naruto was a pain, said Shikamaru, with his hand on his forehead. Anyway, you all need to get going. Unfortunately, your senseis can't accompany you, due to the many missions on demand. Now, get going, Tsunade ordered. With that, Shikamaru and the others left to take on their latest mission. While their senseis were given their own mission. Mid-afternoon, next day Naruto had been on the run, since before dawn the previous day. He was physically exhausted, but he had to keep going. He had created a shadow clone and sent it in the opposite direction, in order to throw off any pursuers. Luckily, it had worked so far. But Naruto could sense something wasn't right. Yesterday, he sensed that Hinata threw her marked kunai at Sakura. Not long afterwards, he felt that Sakura and Hinata no longer had their kunai or tags on them. Naruto's feeling came true, when he was suddenly stopped in his tracks by a barrage of kunai and shuriken. Looking behind him, Naruto saw his former companions standing on tree branches. Hinata included. Putting on his usual goofy grin, Naruto spoke. Hey guys, what's up? Don't play dumb, Naruto. You why exactly why we're here? Shikamaru replied. Dropping his smile, Naruto had a sternish look in his eye. Yay, I know. I'm surprised it's you guys that came after me though, said Naruto, not taking his eyes off any of them. Jiraiya agreed to go after the other you. So which one are you, the real one or a shadow clone? Shikamaru asked, keeping an eye open for any signs of an attack. Does it matter? It's not like you can catch me either way. Naruto replied. Naruto, please, come with us. Hinata pleaded, tears threatening to fall as she had her hands cupped over her heart. Looking towards Hinata, Naruto sighed. I'm sorry, Hinata. I already told you, I can't go back to the village. Please try to understand. Naruto replied, his lower lip trembling at seeing Hinata like this. So it is true, you and Hinata have been dating in secret for quite some time. Shino commented, as he pushed up his sunglasses. Yay, that's right. Naruto replied. Got a problem with that? So the whole time you've been asking me out, it was all for show to keep your relationship a secret? Sakura asked. Duh, if you knew why I'm treated like crap, you'd understand. Naruto answered, rolling his eyes. We're well aware of the 9 tails, Naruto. Shino replied. Then you know that the pervy sage taught me how to control some of its chakra, right? Naruto countered, hoping to intimidate them. Quit trying to scare us, Naruto. It would be too dangerous to teach you to use that thing's chakra. Sakura countered. Sigh, fine, I'll just prove it, said Naruto. A moment later, Naruto was surrounded by red chakra. Believe me now? Naruto asked, with a smirk. Everyone there was shocked. They've never experienced feeling this kind of pure chakra in the air before. They realized then that what Naruto said was true. It can't be, said Ino, as the red chakra receded. Oh yes, it can. Naruto replied, in a sing-song voice. Since you didn't know that, do you at least know about my secret jutsu? Naruto asked, pulling out a scroll. Narrowing his eyes, Shikamaru answered. Yay, we know you got the 4th Hokage's jutsu. We also know you have his scroll containing his jutsu. Now, just surrender peacefully. None of us want to hurt you. Sorry, I can't. Hinata can fill Grandma Tsunade in, once you're back home. Meanwhile, with Naruto's shadow clone, I wonder how the boss is doing. Said Naruto's shadow clone, as he continued to run. So, you're the shadow clone, huh? Said familiar voice, standing on a branch in front of the shadow clone. Hey, finally caught up, eh, pervy sage? The clone remarked, stopping on the next branch. Don't call me that, you brat. Jiraiya yelled. Sigh, I understand why you're leaving the village, but what are you planning to do? You know that the Akatsuki are after you. At least in the village, you would have been safe. So, why'd you leave the village? Jiraiya asked. You got a point. But, I can't stay in the village because of Danzo. He wanted me to fake my death, and join his root, Anbu. He'll probably deny it, and there's no other physical proof that I'm right. The clone answered, looking at the ground. That bastard. I should have known he'd try something like that. Said Jiraiya, gritting his teeth before continuing. Unfortunately, you're right about the evidence part. Just give me some time, and I'll be able to get the evidence needed. But that could take years. And if I go back to the village, Danzo will make sure I'm imprisoned as soon as he possibly can. Then he'll have an opportunity to make it look like I committed suicide, and then force me to join him somehow. If you ask me, it's too risky for me to go back. You know, for a clone, you make some good points. Who are you, and what happened to the real Naruto? Ha ha ha, said Jiraiya, with his boisterous laugh. Ha ha, very funny, pervy sage. The clone replied, his voice filled to the brim with sarcasm. Heh, sorry. But what about the Akatsuki? What are you going to do about them, if they come after you? Jiraiya asked. I'll be able to hold my own, by running away. While I'm doing that, I've got someone in mind who could help me out in a pinch. The clone replied, looking Jiraiya in the eye. And who would this be? Jiraiya asked, his curiosity piqued. Just trust me on this. Okay, Jiraiya? Surprised that Naruto had called him by his name, Jiraiya decided to trust him. Sigh, alright, I'll tell them, you managed to slip past me. But that means I'll have to tell the elders about your secret jutsu. Are you okay with that? It's fine, I'll manage. Alright, if you need anything, just ask. Jiraiya replied. Right, you can start by taking Hinata on as an apprentice, if she wants to though. And since you've got the seal on you arm, I'll be able to ask for some more upcoming favors. So you better not be peeking at girls when I come flashing by, alright, pervy sage. Hee, Naruto replied, as he applied a seal to the tree he was on and dispelled. Sigh, I'll see ya around, kid. Be careful, said Jiraiya, as he began heading back to the village. Hoping that Naruto really will be alright. I'll have to look into that document that Tsunade has the Enbu looking at. Hopefully, that'll speed things up. Back with Naruto. What do you mean? Hinata will let Lady Tsunade know when we get back to the village. You're coming with us, whether you like it or not. Sakura yelled, as she charged Naruto. Sorry, but I've gotta go, said Naruto, dodging Sakura's punch. Get back here, yelled once again, chasing after Naruto. The others then began to attack as well. Naruto decided to quickly speak with Hinata, while he dodged and parried attacks. Hinata, I'm sorry, but I have no choice. I'm sorry, but I have to go now. Naruto finished, before disappearing with a yellow flash, causing Sakura to fly right through where he had just been standing. Wah, oof, said Sakura, as she landed on the forest ground. Where's he go? Sakura asked, standing back up. He may have teleported to where his shadow clone is. Shino replied, a slight shock in his voice. Which means, Lord Jiraiya will get him, said Shikamaru. So, that means this was the real Naruto, said Hinata, as tears fell from her eyes. Yay, sigh, what a drag. Looks like we failed our mission, we'll just have to return to the village and report to the Hokage. Shikamaru ordered. Hokage's office. Next day Shikamaru and his team had arrived back in the village. It wasn't too surprising that Jiraiya had already returned. Shikamaru had reported to Tsunade that they had met up with Naruto and had failed to capture him. I see. Since Jiraiya had failed to capture Naruto as well, the mission is a failure, said Tsunade, as she closed her eyes. Excuse me, but shouldn't Lord Jiraiya have been able to capture Naruto? I mean, Naruto must have teleported where his shadow clone was. Right? Sakura asked. It must have happened after his shadow clone dispersed. I figured you guys would have been able to capture him. I guess Naruto's more clever than he lets on, Jiraiya said, using the excuse he had come up with for this situation. Anyway, what's done is done. Jiraiya will continue his search within his spy network. Sigh, you are all dismissed. Hinata, could you stay here, please? Said Tsunade. Once everyone, except Hinata, had left, Tsunade spoke. Hinata, I'm aware you're upset that Naruto is gone. But I'm sure he had no intention of hurting you. Tsunade began. Not getting a response, Tsunade continued. Naruto requested that Jiraiya take you on as an apprentice. Hinata gasped. She couldn't believe that Naruto would ask that of Jiraiya. She knew he wanted to help her get stronger, but she had no idea that he'd do something like this for her. She was angry at him for leaving, but she felt happy that he would do something like this for her. I didn't think Naruto would do this. I guess it's his way of making it up to me. But he'll have to do better than that. But that can wait until I see him again, Hinata thought. I assume the smile on your face says that you accept? Tsunade asked, seeing Hinata smile. Looking Tsunade right in the eyes, Hinata nodded. Yes, it would be an honor. But I'm sure my father will have questions about everything that will have to come to light. Hinata replied, worriedly. Don't worry, I'll talk to you father tomorrow. Okay? Said Jiraiya, giving Hinata an encouraging smile. Thank you, page. Pervy sage. Hinata replied. Hinata and Tsunade laughed at the look on Jiraiya's face after she called him that. Chapter 29. A new adventure begins to dawn. It was 8 o'clock, and the Hyuga compound was buzzing with busy servants. The evening before, Hinata had informed her father that Jiraiya of the Sannin was coming for a visit. So, since early this morning, members of the branch house were working, trying to make the place look nice for such an important guest. It wasn't until 9 o'clock that Jiraiya had shown up at the front gates of the clan compound. Good morning, Lord Jiraiya. Greeted the guard. Good morning, I'm here to speak with Lord Hiashi. Jiraiya greeted in return. Yes, of course. Please, go on in. Thank you. Jiraiya replied, walking in the compound. Walking up the domain house's building, he was greeted by another member of the branch family. Hello, Lord Jiraiya. Lord Hiashi is expecting you. Please, this way, said the female servant, bowing in respect. Thank you. Jiraiya replied, as he followed her, eyeing her young figure. The servant led Jiraiya to the tea room. Entering the room, she announced Jiraiya's arrival. Lord Hiashi. Lord Jiraiya is here. Yes, thank you. Send him in, and then you can continue your duties. Hiashi ordered. Bowing, the servant replied. Yes, Lord Hiashi. Turning around, she escorted Jiraiya inside and left to attend to her duties. Bowing, Jiraiya greeted Hiashi and his daughters. Good morning, Lord Hiashi. Thank you for allowing me into your home. Hiashi and his daughters had stood up and bowed in return. Of course, it's an honor to have you as a guest in our home, Lord Jiraiya. Hiashi replied. Moments later, they were seated and sipping tea in silence. It was Hiashi that broke the silence. So, Lord Jiraiya, what is the reason for your visit? Hiashi asked, setting his cup down. Setting his cup down as well, Jiraiya replied. I'm sure, by now, you've heard about what happened with my last apprentice, Naruto? Yes, I have. It's a shame he left the village. But I've only heard rumors behind his reasons for leaving. Hiashi replied, as he took another sip. Sigh, I've heard some as well. I haven't found out the truth until I met Naruto's shadow clone during the retrieval mission. Said Jiraiya, taking a sip of his tea as well. I see. And what reason would that be? If I may ask. Unfortunately, we have no evidence to support what Naruto claims. So, I believe it's best if his reasons don't come to light just yet. Jiraiya replied. Nodding, Hiashi replied. Fair enough. But what does this have to do with your visit? I can assure you that Naruto's reason is just. When I spoke with him, he asked me to take on Hinata as an apprentice. I've come to ask if this is alright with you. Jiraiya answered. Raising an eyebrow, Hiashi asked. I'm sure his reasons are just, as I have no reason to believe otherwise. But why would he request such a thing? Hey, not surprising that you don't know. I myself haven't heard of this until just recently. Seeing a curious glance on Hiashi's face, Jiraiya continued. Naruto and Hinata have been dating in secret for a few months now. This is mostly due to Naruto's condition and reputation. The only one who knew of this was Hinata's sensei, Kurenai Yuhi. To say Hiashi was surprised was an understatement. Despite this, however, he didn't show much of it on his face. You mean to tell me that your apprentice Naruto managed to keep a secret like that from even you? Hiashi asked, showing some of that surprise in his voice. And how do you expect me to believe you? Father, if I may? Hanabi asked, politely as possible. With an eyebrow raised, Hiashi answered. Yes, you may. Father, he's telling the truth. Said Hanabi. Oh? And how would you know that? Huh, short stuff? Jiraiya asked, eyebrow raised. Yes, how would you know this, Hanabi? Hiashi asked. It was shortly after the invasion. I've noticed Hinata has gotten more confident, and I wanted to know why. So, I followed Hinata. She went to her sensei's apartment and later came out under a transformation jutsu. I followed her for the rest of the day, and she met up with Naruto, who was also in disguise. I was surprised when I finally saw it was the boy everyone hated. But Hinata didn't. I didn't show myself until they started kissing. Hanabi explained. Hinata was blushing to the point where she put a tomato to shame. By the look on Hinata's face, I'd have to say she's telling the truth, said Jiraiya, in a teasing tone of voice. Indeed, I'm aware why Hinata didn't tell me of her relationship with a boy. But Hanabi, why didn't you tell me about your sister's relations with Naruto? Hiashi asked, in his usual monotone voice. I tried asking how Naruto beat Neji, but he wouldn't tell me. But, he made me a deal. If I didn't tell anyone, he'd tell me. But, I'll never get to know how. Not anymore. Hanabi replied, disappointment in her voice. I see. Regardless of the reason, you should have told me. The same goes for you, Hinata. But, that's all in the past now, said Hiashi. That's true. And as far as Naruto beating Neji is concerned, that knowledge is going to be told to the rest of the village. It'll be common knowledge for everyone in the elemental nations within a few weeks, if that, said Jiraiya. Is that so? I admit, I'm curious as to how he managed to defeat Neji. Do you mind enlightening us? Hiashi asked. As long as you can keep it quiet, until Lady Tsunade hands out the news. Jiraiya answered, noticing the hopeful look in Hanabi's eyes. Receiving a nod, Jiraiya continued. About 2 years ago, Naruto discovered the 4th Hokage's Jutsu scroll. Out of all the jutsu in that scroll, Naruto mastered on jutsu within a year. The flying Raijin jutsu. Hospital. Kiba's room. WHAAAAT. Kiba yelled, after he had just learned 3 of Naruto's secrets. You mean to tell me that Naruto and Hinata have been dating since before the Chunin exams? Kurenai and Shino simply sweat dropped at Kiba's response. Shino had just told him about the 9 tails within Naruto, as well as Naruto's knowledge of the 4th Hokage's legendary jutsu. Kiba, that is true, however it's not as relevant as Naruto's abilities, said Shino, as he pushed up his sunglasses. Huh? Oh, you mean about the 9 tails and the 4th jutsu? Kiba asked. After a moment, the news finally struck Kiba. What? You've got to be kidding me? Are you serious? Kiba asked, with wide eyes. Sigh, yes, Kiba. It is true. I've known about these secrets for some time now as well. But, I didn't know about Naruto's jutsu until after the invasion. Kurenai replied. You've known Hinata and Naruto were dating this whole time? Of course. Naruto talked to me about it first. Although, I didn't really give him a choice in the matter. Hyuga Manor, the flying Raijin jutsu. Is it even possible to master such an advanced jutsu in just a year? Hiashi asked, surprised in his voice. Apparently, it is. I'm not sure how Naruto did it, but he did. Haha, I couldn't be more proud. Jiraiya answered, with a large smile on his face. What's so great about the flying Raijin jutsu? Hanabi asked. Hanabi. That was a jutsu the 4th Hokage used. With it he was capable of taking out hundreds or thousands of enemies at once. Hinata replied, without stuttering. Really? And your boyfriend can use that jutsu? Hanabi asked. Her eyes shined as if she were looking at her idol and causing Hinata to blush. It seems Hinata has grown more confident, thanks to Naruto. Hiashi commented, causing Hinata to blush even redder. That's true. As far as I've heard, it definitely seems so. Haha. Jiraiya replied, agreeing with Hiashi. Turning to Hiashi, Jiraiya spoke. So, Lord Hiashi. About Hinata's apprenticeship. I believe it would be a great idea. Hinata has had this drive to become stronger lately. I believe this would be a great opportunity. Hiashi replied, with a smile on his face. That's fantastic. I admit, I can't teach her about the Hyuga's gentle fist. But, I'm sure I can make up for by making her stronger. I just need your permission to take Hinata on a training adventure for 2.5 to 3 years. That's quite a long time. But, I don't see the harm in letting her go. If that's all right with Hinata and Lady Hokage, of course. I've already got permission from Tsunade. So, how about it, Hinata? Want to go on an adventure? Jiraiya asked. Yes, of course, Lord Jiraiya. It would be an honor. Hinata replied, bowing her head. Then be ready in 1 week. That's when we'll leave for your training. Understood. Great Naruto Bridge. The Great Naruto Bridge. Wow, they named the bridge after me. Awesome, said Naruto, happy to be back in the land of waves. Sigh, I hope they can help me. Tezuna's house. Knock knock. Naruto had just arrived at Tezuna's house. He was hoping they'd be able to help them in some way. Hearing footsteps approach, the door suddenly opened. Huh? Naruto, yelled Inari, giving Naruto a big hug once he realized who was at the door. "Hey, Inari. How are you doing?" Naruto asked, happy to see Inari again. "Are you here to visit, Naruto?" Inari asked, pulling away from Naruto to see his face. Glancing away, Naruto replied with a sad tone in his voice. "No, sorry. But, I do need your guys' help. If you guys don't mind." "Of course, we don't mind. You saved this land. What do you need, short stuff?" asked Tazuna, from the doorway. "Thanks, old man. But, can I come in first? I need to explain why I need your help." Naruto replied, looking at Tazuna. "Sure, come on in," said Tazuna, gesturing Naruto inside. Once inside, Tsunami began brewing some tea. Naruto had begun to explain what had happened in the village recently, starting with the Chunin exams. He told them all about his adventure. Eventually, he told them about Sasuke's attempt at gaining power by defecting to the Hidden Sound village. He told them how his friends risked their lives to get Sasuke back, and how some of them nearly died doing so. Naruto explained that he had managed to bring Sasuke back with little trouble. However, once he got back to the village he was dropped from the shinobi program. Gasp. I can't believe they do something like that. It shouldn't matter what the reason is, you shouldn't have been tossed aside like that, said Tsunami, giving Naruto another cup of tea. Sigh, I know. It's sorta complicated, but it's what happened afterwards that caused me to leave the village. Naruto replied. And why is that, Naruto? Inari asked. One of the elders that caused me to get dropped from the program tried to get me to fake my death and join his own ranks of ninja. And I just couldn't do it. I left, because there was no other physical evidence to support that. Naruto answered, taking a sip of his tea. Why that no good, rotten snake? Did he honestly expect you to join him so easily? Asked Tazuna, with his fist clenched on the table. I guess so. But, I'm sure he's pretty pissed off right now. Hee. Naruto replied, imagining a look of rage on Danzo's face. Anyway, is there a way you guys could get me a boat to the Land of Water? Naruto asked. Why do you need to go to the Land of Water, Naruto? Tsunami asked. Well, I made some plans that I'm going to need some help with. And I have a friend in the Land of Water that could help me with them. Naruto replied. A friend? Do you mean, Haku? Inari asked. That's the one. Naruto answered. So, what are your plans? Tsunami asked. Sorry, can't tell you. It'll take a few years until it's finally done. Naruto replied, with a wide grin on his face. I see, said Tsunami. Well, if it's a boat you need, I might be able to help you out. But, it might take a few days, said Tazuna, holding his chin in his hand. That's fine. I made sure I wasn't followed. Naruto replied. 1 week later, Hidden Leaf Gate Kurenai and the rest of Squad 8 were at the gate. They were going to see Hinata off, and wish her luck. Good morning, kids, said Jiraiya, shining behind Kurenai and her team. Lord Jiraiya, how are you this morning? Kurenai asked, as she bowed. Better, now that I see a young beautiful lady. Jiraiya replied. Sigh, Naruto was right. You are a pervert, Kurenai said, with a cold tone of voice. Ah, that little brat. He has to ruin everything. Jiraiya said to himself, with a pout on his face. It's not like you had a chance in the first place, pervy sage. Kurenai replied, enjoying the look on Jiraiya's face. Is there anyone Naruto didn't tell to call me that? Jiraiya asked, with his head down. Kurenai just continued to chuckle in response. Good morning, everyone, said Hinata, as she met up with everyone. Hey, Hinata, how ya doing? Kiba asked, as Akamaru walked up to Hinata. Bending down to pet Akamaru, Hinata replied. I'm fine. I'm actually a little nervous, but I'm also excited about this training trip. Hey, I'm sure you'll do great, Hinata, said Kiba. I believe so as well, said Shino. Thank you, Hinata replied, as she headed towards Kurenai. Hinata, work hard, and come back stronger than ever. Okay? Said Kurenai, as she gave Hinata a hug. I will, Kurenai-sensei. Hinata replied, returning the hug. It's time to go, said Jiraiya. Pulling away, Kurenai said one last thing before letting Hinata go. Good luck, Hinata. Thank you, sensei. Hinata replied, before walking towards Jiraiya. Ready? Jiraiya asked. Ready, Hinata answered. Then let's go, said Jiraiya, turning to leave the gate. Right. Land of Water. Naruto had been searching for Haku for about 3 days now. Naruto had his shadow clones roam the country, while he headed towards the Hidden Mist village. He was a few miles from the village when he received the memories of a shadow clone. The shadow clone had spotted Haku, so Naruto headed in the direction to where his shadow clone was. Luckily, Naruto's clone had created another clone before dispersing. About an hour later, Naruto had finally caught up to where Haku was. Only thing was, it looked like Haku was about to hang himself. As Haku began to fall with a rope wrapped around his neck, Naruto threw a kunai and cut through the rope, causing Haku to drop to the ground. "Oof, what happened?" Haku asked, looking up at the cut rope. I could ask the same thing. Turning to see who had asked the question, he was surprised as to who it was. Naruto? Good to see you, Haku. So, why are you trying to commit suicide? I thought you were going to realize Zabuza's dream, to stop the bloodline purge. Naruto replied. Sigh, I did. I managed to succeed in helping the resistance, allowing Lady Maid to take the seat of 5th Mizukage. Afterwards, I realized I no longer had a purpose. So, I left the village. Haku explained. Sigh, do you really need a purpose to continue living? Naruto asked. Looking at the ground, Haku answered. Yes. Well, if that's the case, I just happen to need your help with something. Naruto said, smiling. Looking up with hope in his eyes, Haku asked. And what would that be? I left the Leaf Village because some dumb piece of shit elders. I'll explain later. Anyway, I need your help. Are you with me? Naruto asked, holding out his hand. And that concludes the final part of this story. Thank you for spending your time here at Ichiraku Ramen and listening all the way to the end. Your support helps keep these stories alive and allows the shinobi world to continue through new adventures and alternate timelines. If you enjoyed Naruto's secret jutsu, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future stories. Once again, full credit goes to Keeper of the Ninja Way, the original writer of this story. If you would like to read the original version, you can find the link to the story in the description below. Let me know in the comments what story you would like to hear next. Until the next time, stay safe, and I'll see you again at Ichiraku Ramen.